Hey everyone, Old School Pokemon here, back again with the Pokeflips podcast, and joined by my usual co-host, KetchumAllCollectibles, Dan, and I think we have our first reoccurring guest today, PK. How are you both doing?
Doing well. How you doing, PK?
I'm doing well. I'm just, a independent contractor, an independent fisherman of a humble fisherman. It's been pretty good though.
He pulled himself. I mean, Nick pulled himself away from eBay Live.
That's
PK pulled
amazing.
himself away from Fanatics Live to come.
I had to end.
live
I had to end early today, Dan.
I know.
Oh,
PK's.
boy.
This is a
taking
bit.
a
You gotta write
massive
this
pay
down
cut.
as a business expense.
I told him we'd give him 1/3 of the Pokeflips revenue for this live stream, and
so
he doesn't know what that number's going to be.
The best 26 cents of my life, right there.
Let's just start shitting on Tag right away. Get Nick in here.
He's going to be sadly. He's going to be upset when he finds that it's not quite the same hourly as being live on Fanatics.
Yeah.
Where's my tag slide that I tried cracking open? I don't even know where I put it.
Oh, did yours crack as easy as that one video that's going around?
No, his broke in half. I don't know where I put mine. Brattle asked me if I could try it, but I only had one tag slab. Where is it?
I've still never even held one.
Yeah, it's all right.
That I can recall.
I do like the look of them. I got my Walrus bought one that I ran through a live a couple weeks ago. They do look really nice. I gotta give them that. The slabs look so good.
Remember that week with CGC, or that month maybe with CGC, where the slabs were really easy to take apart?
Yeah.
I think Tag probably just had an issue at one point with their sonic welding.
So this is my tag slab, and my first ever try. I cracked it right there, but it's like, so unfortunately, because I cracked it, so now everybody's going to be like, oh, PK literally tried to crack it open one single attempt and he cracked the slab, so that means it's impossible. Well, I need another slab. So this one came apart perfectly, but I freaking cracked it. So you can tell right there, I put a Italian beat up one in there. But so yeah, I was able to get the slab apart. That wasn't the hard part. The hard part was to keep the slab from cracking. So if I had another one, I feel with almost 100% certainty I could separate it pretty easily. But I now have my own slab,
There we go.
I might end up sending a small submission to them just to get a feel for what the grading standards are, what a 9 at PSA would be, and I still want to test. We don't need to turn this whole thing into a tag one, but I want to test what the repeatability is. They make claims on it, but I haven't seen like actual data to support it, so I'll try getting some of my own. It's just going to be expensive at this point. Yeah,
they need a stress test. I'll stress test them.
As far as for today, as always, Pokeflips, we have a few full-timers here. If anyone has any questions, we're going to be live for the next 3 hours or so. We usually run till about 4:15, 4:30 Eastern. So feel free to come at us with your questions. Do you guys have anything before we build up a good backlog of questions? Anything you guys have on top of your mind? I think we put reprints and just reprints in the title, I think. I don't remember. Oh, yeah, live streaming too.
Yeah, reprints that's just the hot button topic. I am
gotta throw that in there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just I made my topic yesterday, kind of going over it. It's just there's people new to the hobby who don't understand reprints, and I think that there's people that have been around the hobby and kind of forget what reprints really mean. Like, there's levels of reprints. There is the reprint that doesn't matter, and then there's the dumps. And I don't think people understand the difference yet. And we'll see. It's all about how much restock we get. Are these real small blip in the pan restocks, or are these full on? Everyone gets all the cases. There is a plenty to go around through distribution. And then after it goes through distribution, after everybody gets their initial allocations, you could actually go back to distribution and get even more, We haven't been to that in a bit. So
Did you watch?
Yeah.
Did you see Danny Phantom's video?
I
Yeah.
did see that one.
He was saying how from what he heard, it's like a less than a case of each set per person if everyone got a case. This upcoming reprint. So if that's the case, that is just not even worth talking about. Getting 5 booster boxes. I was so bummed when I heard that. I hope that's not true, but I would not be surprised if it were true either.
I talked about it in my live. It comes down to liquidity. Like if there's massive dumps and somebody puts in like, I want 1,000 booster boxes, but really they could only afford like 100 booster boxes, but they end up getting allocated like maybe they don't get their full 1,000, but they get 400 booster boxes. Well, they could only afford 100, so they have no option but to like instantly sell, instantly get liquid again, flash sale onto the market, fire sale, however you want to put it. And then that's what drives down prices. But when somebody's only getting one case, everybody's liquid enough to own a case, hopefully, So then there's no need at that point for people to fire sale them. It's only when people actually get a ton of product. Then it makes sense. They're like, okay, I got to get this off the books as fast as I possibly can because I'm in over my head. I thought I was going to get 100 cases. I wound up with 300,
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy to think a reprint could even be so small that they would only have 1 case per store, 1 case per account. Because, like, I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but, like, shout out to CNA Games. I think even Rattle might have done a video before on how printing works, and going to the Millennium Print Group website, they actually have some data on how many sheets per hour they can print. You could figure with that how many, like, cards per hour, packs per hour, boxes per hour they can print. And it's just like, I did a quick Google while you guys were chatting, and I didn't see a quick number on like how many LGSs are in the country, but it's like, how are these reprints so small? Clearly they're printing something. They're printing rocket. They're printing. I've heard all these different things about like how far out they have to print. My mind is just like clearly all over the place with this rant. One interesting thing with Metazoo, we actually had some insight into like actual timing. I was shocked how recently they changed the box within like 6 weeks of when the set's coming out. They changed the box design. I've heard numbers out of Pokemon that, they have the stuff printing and done 6 months, 10 months, 2 months ahead of time. Pokemon's print run size is probably definitely dwarfing anything like a smaller game like that. But it's just, it's crazy. A lot of things to think about, but it always comes down to what's the size and what's the price of the reprint. Generally, the bigger the size is, the lower the price will be of the reprint. And am I just going to get offered 1 case of product at $220 a box for Surging Sparks, $230 a box? Remains to be seen.
I'm always curious with how much time they waste printing products that, like, I'd say don't really matter. Like McDonald's is a perfect example. Like all those McDonald's cards got printed. How many McDonald's exist in the country? And it's like, well, that's a lot of McDonald's. Well, every McDonald's gets 1 or 2 cases. And then it's like, oh, McDonald's actually, that's more cases than like all LGSs. Like I promise you, whatever the number of McDonald's that exist is way more than the LGSs. So then when you start to say, well, each McDonald's gets 1 to 2 case, that's a lot of packing. That's a lot of printing. And then the numbers start to get high really quick. Or something as simple as other products that I say don't matter is like Trick or Trade. It's like, Trick or Trade is available in every Walmart, every grocery store that doesn't usually carry Pokemon, but they carry Halloween candy. They had Trick or Trade, and it's like they got a box of those Trick or Trade packs, and it's like, well, I mean, look at how much Rusty ordered by accident that one time. It's like how much Trick or Trade exists, and the McDonald's plus Trick or Trade are the items I say don't matter, and it's like how much time goes in the printing this stuff, And is that taken away from main sets and stuff? It's something that doesn't get brought up enough, but I think it is a valid conversation.
Battle academies,
Yeah,
all those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder how good battle academies do in store, like Target, Walmart, and all that stuff. I could see them doing good in there.
They do well, but they definitely sit, on the shelves. The second there's any sort of barrier to Pokemon too, like people will stop buying it. Like you could have a tin sitting on the shelves. You'll have all the check lane blisters, sold out, but you'll come across like a random like D21 Pokeball tin or something, and it's like, oh, so they literally picked up like this Scarlet and Violet base pack, but they passed this tin because there's just, even if there's a very slight barrier of entry, people just don't understand it too. And Battle Academies doesn't look like a traditional Pokemon product, so people just overlook it to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But did you see Rusty? He made a killing off Battle Academies. He was just grading the Charizards, and he was getting them for like the fire sale price, and he was just buying them all from distribution, getting great prices. And he sent all the promos away. He was sending so many that he sold through his entire Charizard Battle Academy, and he sent a lot out to Graydon. But you know how Rusty does it, just grinds through those singles and was making a couple bucks per. And he made a lot of money off Battle Academies, like something that doesn't get talked about nearly ever.
Yeah, Battle Academies, World Championship decks. I used to do that stuff more, breaking those things down. They're like a preset distribution of what you're going to get. You know exactly what you're going to get. You know the coin. You know the how many Charizards, how many Espeons, how many whatever it may be. And it's not like a super sexy thing like modern sealed investing or like grading. But there's margin. There's a margin to be made breaking those things down and just selling singles on eBay raw, on TCG Player raw.
I feel like we haven't gotten a good one though, because like the Charizard one that first came out, that was a really good one, but then the other ones were awful.
Those do you remember those, Nick? Those were from the Zapdos, Moltres, and Articuno EX League Battle decks, I believe they call them.
Yeah, way
back when, like 2015, 2016 era. I broke down so many of those, and those were a really good breakdown product. They had like a reprint, maybe it was even a slightly alternate holofoil, like a sheen or whatever kind of holofoil, but they had the Plasma Storm Articuno. They had, I can't remember if it was Plasma Storm Moltres and Zapdos either, but it was one of the plasma sets, one of the black and white era sets for each of the legendary birds. And you got just guaranteed. You got guaranteed Zapdos EX and Articuno hit cards. You got a bunch of the evolutions. It was a solid product. I can't remember, maybe Hypnotoxic Laser, maybe Burbank City Gym or whatever, some of those playable staples back in the day. That's going way back.
Oh yeah, that's going way, yeah. No, we need a good product like that again. We have not gotten one in a while.
No. I mean, some people are doing the trainer battle decks or whatever, the trainer decks. What are the big boxes? There were some good packs in there for a while, and then they had like the playable Crobats and stuff. I know people were doing that play, but yeah.
Yeah, and as the Godly Shad says, it's mostly speculation still. I know Danny's a big name, but I think we should wait to see what others say. It all, I always hear from my distributors so late. So, some people I've heard are already getting like, oh, I'm just getting one case, 3 boxes, 10 boxes, whatever. I texted my one rep. He didn't reply. I haven't heard anything from either distributor that I've had for over a decade. I think I'm like one of the last ones usually to get any kind of a notice, and it is what it is. I don't know. Have you heard anything at all, Nick, or are you similar to me on that front?
No, I talked with one of them yesterday, and or was it yesterday? No, I think it was the day before yesterday, and he said he hadn't even heard anything about how much they're getting, what exactly they're getting. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm definitely not in. I'm not in the know on those kinds of things, and it's wild because like even the distributors, like there are 90% of distribution employees probably are not as in the know on people that are just way down all the different Discord and X and whatever rabbit holes that they're in. It's it's insane.
Yeah.
Well, we run with stuff too, like just the smallest inkling of something with the way YouTube is and everything, we just run with it because it's going to get the clicks. That's why, you got reprints and live streaming. Reprints is the first word. You got to put those bullet words in. Like my live yesterday was about reprint. I didn't want to talk about reprints. I didn't bring anything new to the table. But it's just, you got to do what the YouTube is saying for this week, whether that's collector versus investor, whether that's vintage versus modern, whether that's reprints, it doesn't matter. It's just whatever the scalpers, whatever you got to put, journey together,
Yep.
Team Rocket. How many Team Rockets were in headline or titles of videos?
Here's one I'll be interested to hear your guys' takes on. I'll go last because I have. You guys probably know what my take is, but I heard reprints have less hits. Jefferson Delgado.
God, I can't stand that.
Yeah, there's no validity to that too, and I always think reprints are funny too. Like people are like, oh, you know, the initial print runs of products, like if they have the sell by date on it, like those are more expensive. Do you know how narrow-minded you have to be? You know how many print runs had really, really shitty initial print runs? You know, like people just, if you attribute value to that, you're not paying attention to the actual sets. Like I'll give you a perfect example. Shining Fates. You remember when it was first released, all the baby shinings had that terrible silvering that went on all of them. Who wants first run Shining Fates, you know, ETBs? Because you're literally not going to get anything gradable. Or the same thing with like Paldea Evolve. Let's say a second print run of Paldea Evolve comes out. Like one of the reasons Paldea Evolve is so expensive right now or creeping up is because illustration rares are shit print quality. What happens when Paldea Evolve, when the reprint comes out and all the illustration rares are all like good print quality? But it's like, oh, people will still think the print one, like the wave one, is better. And it's like they're just not paying attention enough. It all goes down to like print quality of different waves, because print qualities of different waves are not going to be across the board, you know, because that is a factory thing. That's not a Pokemon thing. But
yeah, I agree with you. Print quality can change for sure. But the hit rates, I think, are standard across different print runs, different products, all that stuff. I can't stand the whole first print has better hit rates, booster bundles, you don't get any hits, check lane blisters, you get all the hits. It's it's because you opened one ETB and you did well does not mean across the entire print run that is the case.
There is weird outliers so that I don't have the answer to. Like for me, the way I always thought about it is like tins and certain products just get the auxiliary packs. Like so they'll print a huge print wave of a certain set, and then the certain packs, so it's like, okay, we have all these extra packs, let's put them into these products. But then you'll have like the Silver Tempest God packs in one singular product that doesn't exist throughout any other product line. Some people said Silver Tempest single pack blisters, but like that's a really weird thing. It's like, why did they do a actual print run just for Silver Tempest, just for that one product? And there's something wrong with the feeders, like whatever formula they use to feed into those packs where they accidentally were feeding a hit in every pack. It's like, that is the weird stuff that I don't have answers to, because you would think that it's like, nope, we just have extra packs.
And the whole like Silver Tempest God pack thing, clumping, mapping, all these different kinds of issues happen at scale. I don't know exactly what the back end of the production looks like. We know a little bit from the aforementioned like how Pokemon cards are made videos, but clearly they've had issues where they intend to insert roughly the 12 hits per box. That's one thing that's like true and real in the hobby generally, is if you open a box, you're more likely to get your expected approximately 12 like hit cards. And if you open 36 loose packs, say you open up 30 boxes and you shuffle all the packs together, and you open up 3-pack blisters, and you open up tins, and you open up ETBs, and you shuffle all the packs together, now you're not getting that like 1 out of 3 quasi-random hit rate that a booster box provides. But yeah, the whole hobby, it just runs rampant where people extrapolate across a 13 billion card print run. People extrapolate across that from the 3 booster bundles and 1 ETB and half a booster box they split with their buddy. It's like, it's crazy. And like, part of me thinks too, it's like, so say let's pretend like it's true. Why would Pokemon do that? What would be their motivation? The amount that they're printing, it just feels unlikely that they would gain any benefit from that. People would be less likely to want to buy. Like when they make a reprint, they're doing that because they know people want to buy it and they want the people to buy it. if they just always made the reprints less juiced, wouldn't they not sell as many successfully? It's just really weird to me. It's like, it's usually a symptom of just, oh, hey, I didn't get what I wanted. I wanted big hits. I didn't get them. So let me explain it away in a way that someone is like a boogeyman to me. I'm the victim. I'm a victim of bad hit rates because Pokemon's mean and they don't put hits in reprint product. Like I don't know what we're talking about here. It's crazy.
It is.
And then the whole 3-pack blisters, they got all the, like, I've heard every product said this way. I've heard consumers in DMs and Discord and YouTube videos. I've heard that booster bundles have the juice because they opened 36 packs from that and 36 packs from ETBs and they got the most there. And then they did it again with another set 6 months later. So it's like, okay, I did it twice. That has to be the case. People are so horrific at understanding just like statistics on Godly Shouted mentioned 1 out of 1,000 pull rates for a lot of these most extensive chase cards. Like if TCG Player Infinite, who does like hit rate data, they usually do 5 or 8 or 10,000 packs, and even that doesn't feel very satisfactory because there's times where they only pull 3 of a 1 in 2,000 hit rate card out of 8,000 packs, and it's like with how extensive, how crazy the hit rates are on some of this stuff, you'd have to open 20, 30,000 packs to get a reasonable thing. But anyway, say TCG Player Infinite here like for 10 sets in a row, they did the data, 8,000 packs, and they noticed an actual discrepancy. It's like, okay, now we're looking at actual data. Now we can start to have a conversation, but I don't see the motivation. I don't see any data aside from just anecdotes of 50 packs or less. And I would not make any like major business. Like, what are you going to, and okay, say the anecdotes are true, say whatever. What do you do with that information? It's like, okay, reprints have nothing. Do you just not buy reprints now? Do you just like, what do you do? One thing I will give you is, since the idea is out there, if I have two cases, if I have something, even though I think the thought is irrational, if I have a case that has a don't sell until this date on it, and I have a case that says nothing on it, so like a reprint case and a regular case, I don't attribute more value to one, but I know that this tinfoil hat theory is semi-common. I'm going to hold tighter to. So irrationally, ironically, I will validate the crazy theory by holding a little bit tighter to the things that I know some amount of people have a bias towards, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. Because people are willing to pay more. Like Evolving Skies, people are willing to pay more for first print cases as opposed to reprint cases.
Yeah. And
so that
I
definitely makes sense.
Like that thought process of holding on to that because the hobby's irrational. Like, I'm going to play into that irrationality. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, for like personally, I don't put any validity to it.
It's not the same, but it's kind of like when remember when swirls first came about? Nobody cared about those for the longest time, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, people started caring about them.
Well, that's E4.
And that's when you started putting it in the title and asking a premium for it and all that stuff.
That trickles down from the high end to the low end, because the people that have everything, you know, you got to start looking for the things that are going to differentiate you from the other people, and then that stuff trickles down until the average collector is like, oh, okay, now swirls are a thing. I want that too.
In retro, like, it could be a thing, but I've not seen any data to prove it, and I have a hard, like, oh wait, I clicked the wrong one. Where'd his other comment go? How can you not think of it's definitely not outside of the realm of possibility. I thought I saw another comment. Oh yeah, right here. Is it entirely impossible that there would be better hits in first round auxiliary products to incentivize people opening? You would incentivize people to open this stuff at launch when they're already incentivized to open it, because people want singles, because people need cards for their deck. So it's like trying to follow this train of logic. It's the most incentivized to open when it's new. It's less incentivized to open on a reprint, because the singles are all mostly out there. The first to market, like premiums for the big chase cards, are already gone. So I think, if anything, Pokemon would be more incentivized to juice it. And that's where I like really have issues with these crackpot theories, because they have no basis, they have no supporting evidence. And just as easily, I can come up with counter logic. Like I'm not saying what you're saying is entirely illogical, but I have just as valid of a counterpoint that you're more incentivized than ever to have that first YouTube video, hitting the first God Pack, hitting the first Moonbreon, hitting the first Pikachu from Surging Sparks. So yeah, like there's just a reasonable line of thinking that would lead you to juice the reprints, not the original, because the reprints you're going to have a harder time selling.
I don't believe any of it. So I think they're all the same. I've opened enough packs now that they're all the same.
Yeah. And Godly Chad, I could make a logical argument debate towards either side, which just shows how flimsy of an, I can't even call it an argument. But people believe it. So Nick made a good analogy with the swirls. It's like, I really don't care that much about swirls and stuff, but I know that people do. So I start caring about it because some amount of people do, and I know that I can earn a premium. Like if I have some random, I'd be silly. I'd be silly to not be a good salesman and market what I have to its fullest extent. I'm not a big error card guy, but if I get a card that was crimped out of a pack, I'll sell it for 10 times what the raw card goes for because somebody wants a crimped card. If I get some way, someone wants to pay more money for whatever I have, like I'm all for it. Yes. Whatever you need to be told to be true to pay me a premium on what I have. It's like, yes, I agree. Now buy this. Let's see. PSA needs to introduce a swirl tag for cards with more than 2 swirls on the holo, added premium label.
That'd be wild. I'm actually surprised CGC doesn't do something like that, because they put a little designation on every type of label. But yeah, that would actually be wild if some company did that.
This is just a dangerous statement. There's no data to disprove it. So what, like, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying, like, there are people out there that are saying it's 100% true. I've opened 10 packs. I know. Trust me, I know. And there's a lot of people saying that. It's quite prevalent. It's a dangerous thing to say. You can't disprove it. So there's a solid likelihood that it could be true. I've had conversations about that in the past with respect to like the live streaming and stuff. But I've already talked about it more than I care to talk about it because it's just such a silly thing. We gave it its 10 minutes of airtime. So let's go on to the next one. PK, thoughts on being on camera 600 hours a week? You grinding?
I don't think I'm on camera 600 hours a week, but it's fine. It's just I don't go to my normal 9 to 5 anymore. So I'm actually working less hours than I was streaming and going to a normal 9 to 5. So I just consider it work now. It's a job. It's a job. Streaming's a job. So instead of going to my job from 7 a.m. till 5 p.m., but the difference was I was driving 30 minutes in the morning. So I'm leaving my house, between 6 and 6:30, 30 minutes to an hour, depending on where the job site was that day. And then I leave the site at 5 and be home at 5:30. So I just figure it's work. That's all. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Mert says, I don't know how people do full-time jobs and heavy pokey on the side. From 2014 to like 2018, before we had our first kid, I was on that grind. I was doing 50, 60-hour weeks as an engineer. And then I was doing, at some points of that, probably during like the 2016 boom, which paled in comparison to the 2020, 2021, and then the current boom that we're in. I think it's some amount of the same boom. But I was putting in 100+ hour weeks between my 2 jobs for some decent amount of time. Right now, it's like, depending on your living situation, depending on how much you can stay sane for, not burn out from, I don't know how people aren't doing 60 hours a week of Pokemon on the side of their full-time job, because in this market, you are costing yourself a lot of money. But if sanity starts like going to a bad place, if you're burning out, absolutely take. But if you can stand it, like, this is not going to last forever. and this is the time to grind if there was any, for sure.
I tried that. It wasn't mental break. I was just physically tired. I just wasn't sleeping. That's where it broke me. It wasn't like a mental thing. It was just a physical barrier of, streaming till 2. And then, so what I used to do, now I pack during the day, but I used to pack after every stream. So I would have a stream would end at 2 a.m. and I'd immediately print out my labels and I would pack until 3. And then I would go to bed. So when I would wake up the next morning, I didn't have to worry about packing the next day. So I could go right into streaming that night. And then I would pack after the stream. That was where it was getting tough. It's just like wasn't sleeping.
Yeah, there's never enough time.
Yeah.
It's
I never package right after my streams anymore. It's a lot different.
Yeah,
man, the money was good. Like when you're able to double dip there, I was like, oh my goodness. But
yeah, if you have the ability to tough it out for a 6-12 month stretch, whatever it ends up being, and you can make like multi-year gains in where you thought you'd be financially for yourself, for your family, for your household, it can be worth at times sacrifice. But I hear what you say, Brandon, too. Don't you can't take it to too far of a limit.
Ponga says money is greater than sleep. Sometimes it's worth it,
I can sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah. But for me, it also got to the point
I don't know about that. I like my beauty sleep.
Yeah.
Dead here. I'm good.
I think it comes to the point too. It's like one's gotta go. It's like you can only do both for so long too. And then it was either okay, I could keep doing my normal job or take my foot off of Pokemon. And I could probably have still done the streaming, but like pulled back a lot from it. But it's like, which one did I like doing more? It's like I didn't want to go to my job during the day. I wanted to come home and stream. So
I will say I was always a little bit different where I wasn't working every day and doing Pokemon. It was more of working a couple months, doing Pokemon a couple months. But for me anyway, I do still work a lot now. But I would say honestly, I think I was a little bit more productive with my time when it was like a finite amount of time. I'm only going to be home for 3 months, so I need to get everything done in 3 months. Whereas now I basically have 6 months to do what I was going to do in 3 months, if that makes sense. So I would say I do think full-time definitely has a lot more benefits, but I think I was definitely more conscious about my time, not wasting time looking on Instagram or watching YouTube shorts or whatever. When I was doing both, versus now I have more time, so I can kind of waste a little bit more time too.
We do need an aquatic live stream, Nick.
An aquatic live stream.
Whenever we get an aquatic themed set, it's got to happen at some point, right? We need you out on a ship doing the cargo ship themed box break.
There we go.
Ernie wants to know. Ernie is in the vicinity of Fort Lauderdale. I don't know where exactly, but I hope to find out in a few weeks because I'm going to Fort Lauderdale in 3 weeks.
Ernie's going to say he's going, but not show up, even though it's like 15 minutes from his house. Like he did in Chicago last year.
Are either you going or no?
I will not be going, no.
I won't be going. I gotta stream.
Yep. The old ball and chain, the old Fanatics Live ball and chain.
It's so funny that when I do a YouTube live, like people get so mad if I bring up Fanatics Live. That's why I have to come on here. Otherwise, I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Yeah, I've caught you mentioning that. I don't know where I put mine. Hold on.
I always get like every video be like, PK, I used to like you, but now you always are shilling your Fanatic Live, and I'm in my head. I'm like, you understand this is what I do full time, right?
How many of these did you buy, Nick? Did you buy a bunch?
We bought a few originally. I think we got, what did we get? 9 originally that none of them were gradable. And then I think I have another 20 coming to me. So hopefully some of those are gradable. We'll see.
Was the top edge really like wavy? like a horrible cut on the top edge? Because tons of mine had that.
Yes. Top or bottom edge, one of the two.
Brandon wanted to know, so I'll do it now.
God,
The obligatory.
I'm so sick of seeing that.
Is that the only one you ever got?
I got I think I got 4 10s on the first batch, and we sold one as a buy it now through James. One of them or 2 of them I'm gonna take to Fort Lauderdale, and I'm gonna try to black label them. I'm gonna try to review them up. We'll see. It's worth a $25 for a potential 5-figure plus. So it's
pop 1 right now, right?
I haven't checked in a while, but it's been pop 1 for quite a while.
Okay. Which is weird too. It just shows you the gatekeeping, because man, there's some really, really clean Pikachu gray felt hats that exist, you know? Like,
yeah, I mean the ones that I set, it's funny too. I haven't made the video yet. I will be in the next few weeks at some point, because all of them are graded. There were some cards that are getting cracked to get regraded, which just feels crazy with such a high pop promo. But how valuable it is, and my inability to source more that haven't been pre-graded is just leading me to like, man, I'm gonna crack out this PSA 8. I'm not just gonna sell it as near mint. Like I pre-graded these things harder than I've pre-graded any other cards, and I sent similar quality cards to PSA in 3 batches, 4 batches, BGS, CGC, all in different batches, and the variability in the 10 rates, it's silly.
You pre-graded the ones you sent to me, right? Or did you just grab random stacks? Because I sold them on live streams and people 10 them.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I pre-graded those pretty hard. A lot of those probably were 10s. It wouldn't surprise me. I with sealed packs, they were a little bit harder. So if you have a sealed promo that's like this one, never mind. But this one does have something in the back. When you have something in the back, it's a pain in the butt, because you have to like slide the thing. I got really good at sliding the thing without affecting the card. And the most common issue that I find on the gray felt was that like in the top middle off to one of the sides, there'd be a little issue. So if I got a whiff of that happening on the card, I just put it in a pile to be sold, near mint, sealed, whatever. And but I tend a bunch of those too. Towards the end, when I saw the price starting to go up, it's like, let me get a little bit looser in what I send. And I have 8s that I cracked out that were cleaner than some of the 10s that I graded. Yada yada, the same things I always say. These 8s will end up in tag 10 slabs or PSA 10 slabs, or
put it through a wood chipper before you send it to tag. Otherwise you might not get a 10.
Yeah, it grading is grading. It's the rants that I've always had a million times, and but that's what makes it lucrative, I think, is the inconsistency and all the same stuff we always say. Nice to see you in here, Shadowless Red. I don't know if that was last night or last night. 9 packs last night. Magikarp, Tyranitar, and Meryl. That's actually one thing that I really like. That's one thing that I like. Like a lot of people, there is risk. So if you go out into the wild and you buy 9-pack lots from 1,000 different streamers across Whatnot and eBay Live, and there's risk that some amount of those people are doing shady things. Even if you buy boxes, though, to be fair, like there's the thought that, oh, what if they're weighing? What if they're scaling? What if they're using that pipe detector or whatever? But one thing I like about selling loose packs that are just mixed up, you'll get some people that get like skunked. You'll get some people that get really wrecked, but you'll also have the chance for someone to buy a 36-pack lot and get 20 hits. You'll have a chance for someone to get really lucky and get like more than they should get. And it's closer to that true random. I generally like that better.
Want to see one of my 36-pack lots I sold today? What their hits were?
Oh, you got one from this morning?
I can guarantee I have everyone beat. Let's see if PK has first.
Nick's ready to one up you. Better be big.
So this is a 36-pack lot I sold today, right? So Friends in Paldea. So Jolteon, another Aspect, Leafeon, Full Art Trainer. All right. Dipplin, Master Ball, Bunnery, Master Ball, Blood Moon, Ursaluna. This is a 36-pack lot, Master Ball. Screamtail, Master Ball, Umbreon, Master Ball, and Glaceon SIR. Not a bad 36-pack lot right
there. Okay, PK. Was that first print or a reprint? Was that blisters?
Did it come out of ETs or whatever, you know?
Were you standing on your right foot when you opened them, or were you like, which way were you leaning? let me know.
Which way
Yeah.
were you
Yeah, which way
leaning?
was I leaning? But I mean, just these 2 cards right there pay for that whole 36-pack lot, and then some, and then but whatever.
That's
What do you got, Nick? One up him.
So I did it was someone bought 10 packs of Evolving Skies. Literally, pack number 1, Durlodon VMAX Alt Art. Pack number 2, Rayquaza VMAX Alt Art. Pack number 3, the Moonbryon. It was insanity.
I sold 1 9-pack lot of Fusion Strike, and we pulled not 1, not 2, but 3 Sandaconda V Alt Arts out of Fusion Strike out of 1 9-pack lot. I was like, oh my god, that was just Brick City.
That's nuts. That's nuts. Just trying to make sure I keep up on chat. Nice to see you, Terry Lake, Allison Silverland. We got Brad G in here. All my favorite people in one spot. Nice to have you here, Terry.
Terry's first comment when I said I was going live was, PK, I think this is a really bad choice of yours or something like that. Terry wrote. I'm like, oh, Terry, you don't even know. He's like, I think it's a really bad choice quitting your job.
Terry's one of the OGs.
Yeah.
Nice to see him around again. He was hadn't seen his name around for quite a while.
Good old Terry Bear. He's keeping us on the straight and narrow.
Yep. Garen M says, if you guys were still average resellers, how would you go about keeping going if sealed products were priced like they are now or hard to find and PSA is slow? My first boom, I'm running out. LOL. What do you guys
I had
think?
that issue in 2020, man. I say it a lot that I sold through 130% of my collection, meaning I sold through 100% of what I wanted to sell through and 30% of what I thought was my PC. So it's a tough one.
What do you
Nick,
think?
what about you? You were on a ship. You got lucky.
Yeah. For the first boom, I was lucky. It's tough now. It's very, very tough because I'm starting to run out of certain packs, like Fusion Strike, Evolving Skies. I've been out of for a while. Certain packs I'm running out of, and it's like, do I want to pay so much more for those packs, or do I just want to leave them out for now? And so like Evolving Skies, I'm not buying Evolving Skies anymore. Some of the cheaper Scarlet and Violet sets I'll buy still. But I think for me anyway, you got to kind of focus on paying more for stuff that you do well on. And so for me, I'm focusing more on auctions than buying sealed right now, because I can still get singles and graded cards and stuff like that for better percentages. Whereas sealed, it's like people, I don't know, sealed is tough right now because people are wanting 80-85% because some streamers over there, Dan and Alex, are paying so much.
Buy high, sell higher. Yeah.
I know what I got.
Ponga says we can end his business on eBay. Give me the login. Hey, we are not yet sold out of Evolving Skies. I maybe there's been a day or two, a week or two that they've not had it, but it's on my hot buy list every week for the past 5 weeks, I think. And I'm buying it. I'm selling it. I buy most sets between 70 and 80%, but probably the average percentage that I pay is like 75%, and we sell for about 105% on the average set. So there's like a 30% gross margin, 10% platform fees approximately, paying the streamer, me making some amount of money. But with Evolving Skies, with things like that, I just pay up. It's like no one sells to me at 70, no one sells to me at 75, no one sells to me at 80. So I go to 85. And because I'm paying 85, well, now I charge like 115% of market. And my gross margin is a little bit tighter. But at some point that might burn me. At some point I might have 1,000 packs of a set on hand. I might have 10,000 packs of a set on hand that gets a major reprint, and I end up losing a bunch of money because of it. But that's a risk that you take.
Have you seen how much paradox I've been going through? Have you ran the numbers in the last couple streams?
everything's just been with having to do taxes, and sales taxes are coming up next week now or 2 weeks. I've not been looking as close as I should, but I see what you did in February.
So
Paradox.
yeah.
I
So
only
just
see...
just since like Saturday night, how many I did?
Oh, okay. I haven't separated out March yet.
So Monday night alone, 15 boxes of Paradox, and that's just on Monday. 15 boxes. I think it's like 29 since Saturday or something. So it's just
certain things will just like surge out of nowhere. Like I'm looking at the inventory list and I'm doing my best. I want to keep them at around a month's worth of packs for most sets, but I'll have a few months stretch where, okay, Crown Zenith, we've done 5,000 for the year. We did 1,500 in January, and then 30, like more than double that in the subsequent month when the price of the pack was going up. So these things are so hard to forecast. You have a Drowsy AR go up 10, 20 times, and then the rate at which we sell Scarlet Violet base just triples, quadruples, quintuples overnight. It's actually a pretty...
sell SV base to save my life. I was doing it I was bundling them as 4-pack lots for $20 just to move them, and then all of a sudden I sold.
And that was when the prices were lower. The prices were lower. The cards were the same, but then the price of one card goes nuts, and the price of the packs goes up, and then people want it more than they ever like. That's just indicative of the hobby. It's indicative of like people want what they want when they want it, when it's available, when it's cheaper in their face. They don't want it as much, and then something happens. It's the same set it always was, and people just fall over themselves for it. It's crazy.
It's got expensive cards in it. That Drowsy, you know, it's hey, we booming. Listen, we booming.
This is one thing I wanted to...
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead with your thought.
No, it's just the problem is I'm opening all these sets, and I am starting to appreciate all these sets way more than I ever have in the past. I did open a 36-pack lot of Obsidian Flames. Not was it 2 nights ago? I pulled 2 Charizard SIRs out of one 36-pack lot. But I'm just appreciating the sets more, and really illustration rares are carrying all these sets. We're just the buyers are there. Once the buyers dry up, it will be different, but
one thing I wanted to put this one up there for is like we're booming. A Cheeto just sold for $80,000 or $90,000, and
did it get paid?
One thing that it got posted on Instagram. Who bought it? So Zhao, the guy who people might remember the name, he had bid like 50 grand, and he screenshot it, and he's like, "Ha ha ha! Who else is bidding against me?" And he posted that like you're the winning bidder. You're currently in the lead. Whatever Golden says for the lead bidder, and then that Pokemon TMFT, I believe his name is, he ended up winning it. And this guy's like, I never talked to this guy. I don't know his story. But if you scroll down his feed, I guess I could just pull it up. If you scroll down his feed, he has all of the big trophy cards. He's got Master Keys and Unicarps and Trophy Kangs, and he's got the original Japanese trophies. He's got let me just pull it up. But
Master's Key is the first card you think of?
It was like one that was recently on his
card on his page. Yeah, that's the first one that comes to mind.
One Dan wants. Thanks for the cards he wants.
That's one of the few ones that I haven't owned that I do want to own at some point. Or no, yeah, Master's Key I haven't owned, but let me pop this up on screen just to show. Like this guy is I never talked to him. I don't know his story, but he owns stuff. He was sharing one day. He was just blasting on his Instagram story. Tons of memes that people were sharing about the Cheetozard, and the dude clearly has money from somewhere. He just thought it was funny. It like as a meme, we'll like make jokes. I might throw $20, $50, $100 just for the memes on something silly, something stupid, some Quaxley card, some Quaxley plush. But this dude is like 80, 90 grand battling back and forth bidding with Zhao, and then wins a Cheeto for 90 grand. And like, he's got the Japanese trophies. He's got he's got a prototype card, which we don't need to go into that conversation. Trophy Kang. He's got like legitimate good stuff. And then just for the memes, it's like, oh, 80, 90 grand. Is that a lot of money to you? I'm going to drop that on a Cheeto for the memes. But one thing I love about that, and thank you, Zhao. Thank you, Pokemon TMFT. Everything is undervalued relative to Cheetozard. like
Relative
maybe it is
picture.
undervalued. See, maybe you're not just thinking big picture, Dan.
it's like
Maybe you gotta
Dan, should I buy 151 PC ETBs? Yes, before you buy a Cheetozard. Or Dan, is this cheap?
That's where you're wrong, because you could have bought the Cheetozard and flipped it and made $70K. Maybe if you bought it for $100, you overpaid for it by $99.99, and you would have flipped it to $70K. So,
yeah. At this point, no, the comp is there now, and I appreciate the true whales of the hobby. I appreciate them making. I mean, they I don't know who owned that. I don't know who, but they gave someone a year's salary, more than a year's salary for most people, just for the memes. And bless the hobby. Praise Arceus and bless the hobby.
How do you keep it intact? Do you like put it into like what's the stuff you pour like to like
a resin?
Yeah, like is that how you would keep it safe? Like that looks pretty brutal, man.
I didn't look at it closely, but it's like mounted to a card inside of a little display box. Maybe it was. I don't know if it was like encased in resin or not.
Yeah, resin. That's what I'm looking at.
I didn't look too closely
at
Jurassic
Park where they have the mosquito in the amber, and like that's how you would have to encapsulate it.
Think of the children. That could have been somebody's snack. Yeah. Oh man. And yeah, I was having this rant the other day in Discord voice chat. It's like even if not, like I don't know his story, even if 90K was like proportionally $5,000 to us, or like I have no idea what this guy's net worth is. Once you get above a certain level, the marginal utility of an additional 90 grand. If your net worth is 0, 90 grand is infinity. Like 90 grand is infinity of your net worth. If your net worth is 90 grand, it's a lot of money. If your net worth is $1 million, 90 grand is a lot of money. But once you get to like 5, 10, 50, 100, $1 billion net worth, it really truly becomes you can just do that for the memes if you want to. Cheetos have intrinsic value cards. That is actually true and fair. I mean, they provide not much nutrition, not much sustenance, but they do provide sustenance. Oh, that's hilarious. I'd imagine if anyone in the Cheeto manufacturing facilities got wind of that sale, I'd imagine there's some experimentation going on. They're probably trying to make all kinds of like a Spider-Man one, a Batman one. They're trying to make like Looney Tunes ones.
I can see it.
Bless the hobby. What are you guys' thoughts on Scarlet and Violet apparently ending after Destined Rivals? PokeBeach reported that the sets after will be mega sets to go with the Z to A game.
I saw that. I don't know. We're Scarlet and Violet's definitely shorter. We're like 5 booster box sets away from Scarlet and Violet being the same as Sword and Shield right now. So it's definitely shorter, but it's not that much shorter. But I think it would be really cool to have like these mega sets, like a small era with the mega sets. And then the 30th anniversary being like the final set of that era. Kind of like Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and Call of Legends. I think that'd be awesome if they did that. I would absolutely love that.
There was, so I just pulled it up because I couldn't remember exactly. There was 12 main sets in Sword and Shield. So Journey Together is going to be 9. 10 is Destined Rivals, I believe, right? Or is there one in between Journey and Destined?
Just Journey Together, Destined Rivals. And Sun and Moon Cosmic Eclipse was Sun and Moon 12. XY Evolutions was XY 12. So,
and then
I don't know why they would only go 10.
11. Yeah, I guess the last one that short was, well, Black and White was 11, and then before that you had
Treasures. Yeah, I mean, like Diamond and Pearl, Stormfront is Diamond and Pearl 7. So,
yep. It's 7. Yeah, I've got the list up here, and Platinum only had 4. Heart Gold, Soul Silver only had 4. Then you had Call Legends, which is like a standalone thing. But Interesting. I hadn't heard that. That's news to me. I hadn't read that Poke Beach article. But I've heard some people speculating that we might have a little mini era a la Heart Gold Soul Silver, a la Diamond and Pearl. I don't have any like
Pokemon Pocket.
Yeah. I don't have any like major thoughts or feelings on that. It feels like just yesterday we were getting blessed as the hobby by Quaxley. Nick, I can't remember what Collecticon that was, but I remember I was in a hotel room. We put it up on, well, we tried putting it up on the TV. Then we watched it on someone's laptop.
Mm-hmm.
The three.
I think it was Orlando because we were with Brendan and Chris. Palatine and Chris Pokemon.
That's right. Yeah, I remember we tried getting it up on the TV and we couldn't. So then we put it up on someone's laptop. But that was when I first saw my boy Quaxley, and it's crazy. We're gonna be getting like another run of starters soon. We're gonna be getting another 1,025 Pokemon is not enough. Give us another 100, another 200. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
But well, let me ask you a question. What do you think a Pokemon Pocket set would do? Because how good the artworks are. I mean, breaks the hobby again. Like a lot of stuff could break the hobby, but that would be a big one.
I think so.
I think so. Look at Surging Sparks. Like I haven't opened a ton of it. There's some good cards in it, but it's not a 151. It's not and it's almost a $300 booster box. Look at Journey Together.
I don't know what you're talking about with Surging Sparks.
Is good. You got a big Chase Pikachu and you have the Latias.
$300 3 months later. Like, is it that good of a set?
It is. There's a Hydreigon in there that's really nice.
Clearly, there's consumers for it. So I'm not trying to say like this is my opinion. This is not a fact because the market is more right than me. The market is everyone together making the decision. But it's like imagine. PK talks about it all the time, like a Super Smash Brothers poncho box.
Mortgage my house.
Super Smash Brothers like poncho. Just make it a set. Make it a set. Throw it in a booster box.
Dan, I will mortgage my house if a Super Smash Brothers set comes out. I will. I'll mortgage my house. I will do whatever. I will sell my cars. I will sell all my possessions to get liquid for Super Smash Brothers set. Because I'll just buy it all back.
We're booming this hard. And we can come up, like, if we spent the next 10 minutes coming up with ideas that are better than Surging Sparks, better than Journey Together, we could come up with 10 or 20 solid that would, like, break the hobby. And they're doing a great job. Like, all of it's fun and good, and I'm not trying to say what we have is bad. But, like, even before touching serialization that sports went to, even before touching some of the other, like, things they have in their back pocket, the ways in which they have to just make us empty our entire bank accounts into their coffers is wild and a little bit frightening.
Even things Pokemon have already done in the past, like a good Delta Species set would kill right now. Give me another Delta Species Zard doing a lightning attack. Like, just give it to me. Give me any of that shit.
Do alt art gold stars. Do like they're redoing EXs, they're redoing megas. Are they going to do an alt art gold star instead of just breaking the border of the frame, breaking the entire border of make the card a little bit bigger and have it go off the card? Or you could do anything. You could do anything and we'll just go nuts.
The horizontal, that didn't work. And so you need the 2 for like Heart Gold Soul Silver.
Make it so you need 9 of them. Fill up a whole binder page. Give me an alt art gold star that you need 9 pieces that are all 1 in 3,000.
Oh no, we don't want that. It'd be like the V Union cards.
Yeah. See, they've only gone to 4.
You just
bigger,
ruin the gold
Legends.
Stars
Legends is only 2.
No.
V Unions are only 4. I want 9.
Stop it.
I want. Let me see how quick I can do my. I want 16. I want 25. I want go bigger. Go bigger.
It's like these cards where they make an entire picture.
Ruin Pokemon with gross ass whatever those things are.
Yeah, they could literally just make a stained glass set. I have one of those somewhere. I was just I'm building my next box for PK and Ponga of just stuff that I have lying around. Like just do a set where the entire Chase gallery, call it a stained glass gallery, and have 50 different stained glass arts, and people would lose their minds, and they would go like remortgage their house over. It's just wild. It's wild how many things they have that they could do that would take all of our money.
Mm-hmm. It is for sure.
Here we go. Does Shrouded Fable prove that a starving market will buy anything? Also, do you guys think that simply putting the Greninja and Seadra in the set, it would go from a 3 to a 6 fundamentally? You guys are the pack rippers, so what do you think on Shrouded? Is it as bad as people say?
The Greninja and the Kingdra, I could see the Kingdra should have went in the set. One of the biggest travesties that has happened is the Greninja UPC got robbed of good promos and therefore killed that product in a sense. That Greninja should have been in the UPC, and it would have carried that product for a long time. And higher price point, that would have been a more expensive card. It would have been a super premium product, but they put it in a freaking Shrouded Fable box. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
Are you guys selling much Shrouded Fable? Because with all the talk, I still do not sell Shrouded Fable. I have one person who will buy like 10 to 15 packs.
We sell it on our 3-pack shipped for $25. We sell it as that option. So we move through a decent amount of it, but that's not the same.
So I have the numbers here, but I only last pulled them a week or so ago, but we'd only sold 388 packs of Shrouded all year up till a week or so
I was
ago.
gonna say, okay.
But yeah,
that's about the same for me then.
Just for reference, our biggest sets, like we've sold 5,200 Prismatic, 5,000 Crown Zenith, 2,300 Paldea, 2,000 Surging. That's just for reference on what that means exactly. So yeah, I think right now there's more money ready to speculate, invest, consume, whatever combination of like buying product. I don't know the exact blend, but there's more money ready to dive in than there is product to buy. So that's why Surging is almost 300. That's why Twilight's 250 or whatever. Like Paldea is almost 250. Pokemon can't keep up with it for now in this moment, but I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know why, but it will come back around and Pokemon will get things under control again. There will be sets. I actually posed this on my middle of a long live stream rant on Wednesday night. I will bet someone $5,000. The amount of people I've heard that say that boxes are never going under 100 again, I will bet anyone, DM me, email me, whatever, $5,000 cash that there will be a main set booster box under $100 shipped on eBay or Hills or some, not a TikTok deal. I'm not going to try to like be grimy and fly the coupon through on you, but it's going to be like a mass market listing that is available to anyone for less than 100.
What's the time frame?
Oh, did I not say 3 years? In the next 3 years. I think it'll happen in 6 to 24 months. So to be safe, I upped it. But it's a brilliant bet by me because, like, one, no one's going to take it. I would win it if someone did. But if I lost $5,000 in a bet, but all my product is worth a lot more than I expected it to be. So it's like, did I really lose? It's a brilliant bet by me.
See, where I would take that bet, if you told me
6 months to 2 years.
Yeah. If you told me any current set, I'll take that bet. If you're willing to say that no current main expansion will be less than 99, or if you're saying one of the main or current will be less than 99, I'll take that bet. But I can't predict the future. You know, there might be like a one-off just garbage set.
There's a lot going on my side, but I've heard people like it's not coming out of nowhere. It's like, oh, Dan, you're making an unfair bet out of nowhere. I've heard several people make the statement that there will never be a booster box under $100 again. And the context in which they're saying it, they're saying like any set, all sets.
Well, Dan, so, I'm saying none of the current sets will ever be under 100 in 3 years.
That one's more interesting. That one's more interesting.
Bet. So
I'll have to think on that one, but that one's tempting. Obviously, I'm ceding a lot of ground. I'm lowering my odds significantly. I feel a lot less confident in that one inherently because it means like which set's it going to be. I think that will. I think that will happen. Am I confident enough to bet $5,000 down? I'll think on it. I'll think on it.
I mean, I think but you could always
that one.
You're the. You get just deducted from my pay. Like you get the money no matter what.
That one's more of a fair bet. I think the bet that I proposed, which is why I so like confidently proposed it, I think it's a horribly unfair bet that if you take it against me, you're just working against monumental odds. That bet would be like a -1,000, -2,000. That would be one of the gimmies.
But see, that bet, it doesn't win all the time. Like, there's a lot of examples where if I said that, you would have won in a huge majority of the hobby. Like,
Oh, I don't think there was ever a 3-year time in the hobby where no box was under like
No.
$100 for now.
I mean,
And
even during the boom, you could
even
pick
99
up,
to 2002, like
you could pick up
2002, you were
under.
almost, yeah. So it's it would not be a bet anyone should take. If someone, but I've heard people make that statement many times, and some people who have a lot of inventory, some people who have a lot of products been around for a decent bit, and it's just like, and I mentioned this before, but I probably said that a few years ago. If you look through the hundreds of hours, thousands of hours of content I've had, I think when MSRP went up, there was a few month window where I would have fallen into that same trap of like, okay, MSRP is higher, cost is 95. It's never, I promise you, people sell at a loss all the time. I promise you, people will be selling for $99.99 shipped or less in the coming months and years. It's always happened. It always will happen.
We had that conversation when we heard about MSRP. How there would never be $80. I don't know if we went as high as 100, but we said $80, $90 boxes we'll never see again, and we were both dead wrong on that.
And I'm not going to be wrong on that again. The lack of liquidity that some businesses in the space will operate with, and the fickle nature of people's beliefs and the fickle nature of people's consumption habits, it can change on a dime.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
What is the cheapest booster box right now that's on the market? Is it Temporal Forces, I'm guessing?
Let me pull up my
Temporal or Paradox.
Well, maybe Paradox. I think it's Temporal, though, if I had to guess. Like main expansion, obviously.
Temporal showing 176. Paradox is showing 179. That's so crazy. Oh my god. Battle Styles is 179. So there's 3 of them that are like neck and neck.
So that means one of those would have to drop $80 in order for you to be right at the edge of winning the bet. Not even like a blowout, just right on the borderline.
Part of the reason I buy everything and I set a little bit of everything back is because I truly don't know. I would expect, and I made a short like 8 or 10 months ago where I said in the next year I predict a Scarlet Violet box, main set box, will be 300 plus, and I haven't quite been right yet, but I'm not too far from being right. Maybe the reprint, maybe it won't end up happening, but we've been damn close to it. But there are certain sets that just get like overlooked for the reprints, and historically, like that's just always been the case. That there's been some sets that were skipped over, even some sets that were deemed more mid, deemed not quite as good. They just haven't gotten hit as hard with the reprints, and I just never have any clue which ones of those are going to be. So I do a little bit of a scatter shot towards everything. That's
There's
so wild.
Trickling down effects for reprints of mid sets, in comparison. Like a good example would be last 4 sets, the Sun and Moon. So Team Up, Unbroken Bonds, Unified Minds, Cosmic Eclipse. Which one of those 4 sets got a reprint? It's Unbroken Bonds. Which one of those sets was the, biggest dog out of those? It's like, okay, it's Unbroken Bonds. And then which one of those sets got the most packs reprinted? It was probably Unified Minds with the big restocks that they had. And then next it was Cosmic Eclipse, and then it was Team Up. But then people go into the semantics of, well, which one is inherently better sets and stuff. So it is tricky because Team Up, Cosmic better than Unbroken. Unified's probably better than Unbroken. So
back when we were talking about sets that could be done, a Pikachu time travel set, that would be hilarious.
Yeah. I need a Pikachu dressed up as a World War I doughboy. I think that's what we need.
Like you have the Scream cards, you have the Gray Felt hat. Just have a set where you have different Pokemon in different poses and different like historic artwork. Like, man, the possibility that one you'd run into IP, you'd run into like, surely they had some amount of conversations and interaction with the estate of the Van Gogh to get that licensing, to get that.
How can that be licensed? Wouldn't copyrights have, or is art different?
I don't know how it works exactly, but like clearly they were working with them because it was released like at the actual museum. But yeah, as far as how the IP around a painting that's hundreds of years old works, I truly no clue.
Yeah, I think if I did a bootleg like Michelangelo David or something, I don't know if anybody could come sue me for like IP infringement. Like, I don't know.
I don't know how that works. Clearly there must have been some kind of a profit revenue sharing situation there, right? Because they were selling the merchandise right at the place in the Netherlands there.
That would be cool. I would, because I'm a big history buff, so a Pikachu time travel set would be so cool. I would love that.
Oh, is temporal still regular temporal is available? Which after you pay taxes, it'd be more expensive. What is it, like almost 185 shipped on PC if you buy it full? I guess it depends. If you live in Oregon or if you live
Like
in
$1,000 if you buy off Pokemon Center.
But if you live in a state with no sales tax, then you got a big leg up, right? You're saving that 8 to 10%. I'm in a very expensive sales tax state, so I pay like 9.25 or something. Collector Kid 92 wanted to know, can you send Probstein booster box cases that Pokemon Center cut open and still sell them as sealed? I would not expect that to be the case. I sell through Probstein a decent bit lately. I just send them a box of stuff. I don't do my titles. I send them stuff and they title them. I would not recommend you try to like pull one over on Probstein and try to get it like that. That's just not good. If they accidentally end up selling it that way, and if a case subsequently gets opened, if something comes up, Probstein will like take the money back from you. They will. The way that they pay out, if you look at their terms, they do it more of like a cash advance type situation. And it's just, I would not recommend. I would not recommend trying to like sneak one through or something. Do you guys sell it all through? Have you ever used Probstein or other consignments for sealed?
Not for sale, no. I was all ready to start sending stuff to PWCC and then they yanked that, but
I hope that comes back. I hope I have the ability again someday to offer 95% payouts on Evolving Skies booster cases and things of that nature, because that was awesome. We'll see though. But yeah, Probstein, it's wild. Just as a test, I've sent them like some dark stuff. I'm like, I don't want to send this to Ponga or PK. I've sent them like the milk carton cases. I've sent them like stacking tin cases, and they'll just list whatever. I sent them some One Piece stuff. They do all of it.
Send me all those milk cartons because they do great with the promos. The promos, I'm making a lot of money. Plus,
Cyrus and Clara. I've sent you some Ionos. I've sent you some of the better ones, but it was like Cyrus and Clara or something.
Yeah,
I sent them.
Ones were terrible.
I sent them the darker ones just as an experiment.
And there's so much more value breaking open this product than trying to sell a lot of it sealed. I know you're like, I want you to sell some of this sealed, but it's so much darker.
Ponga and I were going back and forth earlier in Discord. He was not a fan. This is a common thing that I get too. Nick, how much do you get it? Where I'll have people reach out to me trying to sell a collector list, and it's like individual milk box cartons or sealed milk box carton cases, and it's PC ETBs that are loose, and it's 3-pack blisters, and it's like, it's good stuff. It's harder to find, but it's way too niche. It's like I work in loose packs. Whatever you have, break it down. And I know you don't want to do like the reason that they don't want to break down the packs to packs is the same reason I don't want to buy it, because it does go for a substantial premium at times over the loose packs, but I can't get that on a Fanatics live stream. We sell 9-pack lots. We sell 36-pack lots. That is like the core fundamental most liquid product in the hobby, is just the single booster pack or the single booster box. And the more exotic you get, it's like, I'm not going to be your buyer for 85%. I'll buy your Evolving Skies for 85%, but if it's a 3-pack blister of them that goes for 120, 130, 180% of loose pack prices, it's a cool item. Sell it on eBay. Sell it on eBay as a buy it now. You'll ship it in 6 months and you'll ship it yourself. And it's like, I'm not going to be your outlet for that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'll get there has been times where people sell me ETBs, booster boxes, loot packs, and then they'll have a few collection boxes. So I'll grab those. and running a few collection boxes has done well. But I think if I started running them constantly, they would not do as well. So yeah, I agree with you on that one. Plus, there's so much of a pain to ship. I hate shipping collection boxes.
And I'm trying to help Ponga. I'm trying to help PK. Like, by rule, I say it right on my website, on my buy list. It's like, I treat if it's not a sealed booster box case, which I do deal in, or a sealed ETB case, which I also deal in, I treat it as loose packs. I don't want anything else. Even loose booster boxes. I don't want to deal with it's got a ding, the wrap here, the wrap there. It's like, it is a sealed booster box or ETB case, or it is a loose pack to me. And it's fine to like not want to sell for that. All the time I tell people like, oh, I'm not really interested. And I've had people like get mad at me at times. I've had people like, you say that you buy to 70 to 85%. I specifically went on my website and I put like 4 loose packs, 4 singles, 4 slabs, and for sealed ETB and booster box cases. I specifically exempt all the niche, all the random, because I just can't sell it for a margin. I can sell loose packs for a margin over market. I can't do that with like oddball stuff. So I just don't touch it.
We take a loss selling it as a sealed product, just so you know, too. Like, people pay less, even because especially the milk cartons. I've tried to run a milk carton and it sells for like nothing because people don't understand the product itself. You know, there's a little barrier of entry to some of this stuff, you know.
That's why I just don't like touching the more exotic stuff. It's like, and I've had people that are just like, oh yeah, that's reasonable, that's fine. It's like, you're actually offering 80% of loose pack prices on that stuff. I've had people like do the math and they're like, oh, that's actually, it's only 65% of what the actual stuff goes for. But if I don't want to spend the time, I just don't want to spend the time getting all that individually. And I have an offer, and if you don't want to take it, that's always fine. But sometimes people like genuinely get offended over it. Like, I can't believe
what's the harshest message you receive from somebody? Like, when you're like, hey, this is my price, this is what I pay. Because they want you to pay like 110% of market.
Yeah. I heard, and I used to, for a while, I was saying I pay 80, 70 to 90%. I was paying 90% on a couple things, but I've had people like, the mistake I used to make is I used to say like, I'll offer you 75% of the loose pack pricing. Now I just pass on even offering. I've offered people a number on their stuff and they've been like, you scumbag scalper, go to hell, what's wrong? Like, I've literally had that interaction, and it's like, no one's like, here's a number, go take it, go shop it around. Like, I'm not forcing you to do this. It's people get really wild and weird. But that's why I just stick like loose packs or sealed cases. That's all I want to deal in.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're fully caught up on all the questions. If anyone has any other questions, feel free to leave them. We're going to be around for another hour and a half, 2 hours or so. But what else is why don't you guys pump what you got going on tonight while we wait for more questions to come in? We got the Battle of Fanatics and eBay live on stream with us.
So eBay, we got Poke Night on Friday nights. So that's gonna be fun. I'm gonna be starting early. I'm starting at 5 tonight. And then hopefully we're going to be doing 200 auctions and then getting into pack ripping. So hopefully it'll be a nice long stream. We'll see how late it ends up going. But I'm curious starting so early, because normally I don't start until 8 or 9. So starting earlier and going later will be interesting. We'll see what the viewership looks like.
Yeah, so I'm just doing Fanatics live tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you guys don't want to wait till the end of the stream, you could come in, buy packs at any point. The queue is always open. But no, seriously, Mr. Dan will be right here a couple Saturdays from now. So March 22nd, Dan will be over. I'm going to be doing a Fossil First Edition booster box break. So that'll be fun. We do have some high-end slabs. Let's see.
Yeah, I've got to bring some goodies with me, but I figure you got some to set aside too.
So we do high-end slabs and singles during the auction too. Dan, you sent me a Skyridge 10. What are you doing to me? Why do you? So these are some of the singles we're going to be running. So you did send me some nice pretty ones that I've been put into the side. So all these will be auctioned off. All auctions always starting at $1. So this is just some of the higher end singles we're going to be running. But then you gave me like this pile of.
I sent you some good stuff.
Yeah, I mean. So hold on, let me pull out some of. I mean, you sent me some big ones.
Mm-hmm. We want to have the goods.
Yeah, I need my hand cam. This is too hard to show. I'll show some of the heavy hitters. Blastoise 9 from base set. But what are you doing to me on this? You want
Do you
me?
need that one?
I mean,
It's crazy how cheap they are. It's crazy how cheap they are relative to some things.
Yeah,
like the Cheetos are way undervalued relative to the Cheetos are.
Yeah, these are all cheap and relative to the Cheetos are. Yeah, those are just some of the. And then I can't believe how expensive these are selling for. It's like fake dollar amounts right now for how easy those were to obtain and for how cheap they were to what the 10 prices are.
Hobby is definitely booming. But yeah, 2 weeks from tomorrow on the 22nd, I will again be at PK's house. So excited for that one. Excited for the big box break again. I did secure 2 this week. Unfortunately, I waited. I should have bought it back when I bought the Jungle and the base 2 box, but liquidity, cash flow, all that stuff. I paid $20,500 for a Rocket First Edition booster box for a May box break.
That's wild.
Yeah, dude, that's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot for $1 auctions. We'll see what happens though. We'll see what happens. That's $570 is what I paid per pack. That's no platform fees. That's no nothing. So I'm gonna need that'll be dicey. That'll be dicey. We'll see how that one goes.
I mean, people keep asking. I mean, they're like, "How long are you gonna do this for?" And the question is, I don't know, because it gets expensive, man. So base set Jungle, Fossil, base set 2, Team Rocket, that's a doable. But then Gym Heroes, Gym Challenge, that gets dicey. I mean, are you going to go unlimited first edition? That'll be the question. And then Neo Gen base, Neo Discovery, Neo Rev, Neo Destiny, and then Legendary Collection, Expedition, Aquapolis, Skyridge. And then even for the Nintendos, they're so expensive because they're impossible to source. So Ruby Sapphire, Sandstorm, Dragon, Team Aqua versus Team Magma. When was the last time you saw that? Even Hidden Legends, which is a cheaper one, Fire Red Leaf Green, and then after Fire Red Leaf Green,
then you get the Gold Star sets. Yeah.
Team Rocket Returns, Deoxys. Like, oh, okay, that's a lot of money.
The most likely situation, I think, is that this experiment will run through May. Maybe I go the gym sets and get through July. I don't see Neo Genesis happening. It's just, at least not the way that it is. Maybe I buy a big box and we do it as buy it nows over time. But to do a $1 auction night, I think what's most likely is we do Rocket in May, and then we take a little break. We take a little break from it, and then we do a box break number 2, get PK to pull his Raichu, maybe pull another Charizard. But we'll see, though. We'll see. I wanted to come out of the gates hot with Fanatics, and I think we're definitely doing that.
I think you'll be good up through Gym Challenge. Rock, it'll be iffy. I think you'll break even. So my prediction, you break even, lose a little bit on Rocket. Base 2, you'll make money. Gym Heroes will be break even, make a little bit of money. Gym Challenge will be make a little bit of money. After that, I don't like those Neo boxes.
Yeah, the Neo ones are really scary. You get to where you need every pack to go for an average of $1,000 a pack, right? For Neo Genesis. Mm-hmm. And that's to like only break even or lose a little bit.
Well, Skyridge is like $50K a box. So how do you even make that possible? I mean, Weedle did his, he pumped it to all Oblivion. What did he sell? 4 packs, right?
Has he been selling more? Have they been trickling out? Or is he
I think he finally, I don't know if he put them on regular eBay or what he did, but I think he's finally done with those. I haven't seen them anyway. Maybe he held on to them, graded them. I have no
People were
idea.
talking about that break, like, oh, Weedle's doing a Sky Ridge box break, and then
that's a lot of money to tie up. That's when you could be buying Crown Zenith packs at $4 to $6 a piece in the same time frame, and then I've got what is it, Experience Share or something in my chat. He's constant, like in January he was saying they were going to be $10 in January, and now it's like they're probably going to be freaking $20 in January or something. This hobby continues to amaze me.
Yeah. I mean, so much of this stuff is just getting evaporated from the market to sealed product. I mean,
4,000 packs a week we're doing right now.
So let's have the conversation. Like, I'll ask both of you guys, though, what does it take for this to end? Because if there's money to be made, it doesn't end. So we'll just throw that out there. If there's money to be made, and I talked about on one of my lives, like I think somebody in the Oaks Discord mentioned it. They were waiting for a restock in line, and the person standing next to them said, if I can't pick up like whatever UPCs, I'm just going to go to the vacuum section and buy a vacuum because I could flip it for $20. And it's like, okay, these are the people we are competing with. The guy who's willing to buy a vacuum and flip it for $20. Like, what, if the money's there, it doesn't stop, but what does it take to kill it?
There's I just want to say hi to the Experience Share. There's the one who was calling for $10 Crown Zenith by January. And I pushed back. I'm like, I don't see a path for that happening. I used more firm response than I would have in hindsight. Like, I'm going to have, we didn't bet anything on it, but I'm going to have lost that bet, lost that thought. It seems like those are actually going to get there. But yeah, Nick, what do you think on what's going to end this? What's going to end this all?
I don't even know. I don't know, because we have such good sets coming out. After the 30th anniversary, when we finally get a bad set again, I'd have no idea what's going to end this. If Pokemon does do a massive reprint and drops the price of everything, I can't see that happening, though. If we go into like a major recession with the like overall economy, which that's the most likely outcome out of those possibilities. I have genuinely have no idea what's gonna finally break the camel's back.
Dan, I'm looking at our spreadsheet. 9 packs of Crown Zenith, $89. So
that's what we're selling them for at a premium.
Yeah,
market,
we're there. It's gonna happen.
We're knocking on the door. We're knocking on the door.
When we started, we were at I think 45 or 50 for 9 packs of.
Yeah, because I was paying $350 to $375.
So when we started, it was like 45 or 50.
I turned down 20,000 packs at $4 a piece because I wanted to pay like $350, and for liquidity reasons, it's like I can't just have $100,000 and everything. And like I put $20,500 into a rocket box that I'm not ripping for 10 weeks from now. So it's like, that's just dead money sitting there. And I also have the base set 2 box for April. I also have the fossil box over a month ahead of time for this month. It's a lot of money to be tying up into things when it's wild. But as I said earlier, when I made the proposal, if anyone wants to take the bet, I don't know how or why, but I just am as confident as I can be that it will happen. Things have to turn. Things historically have gone through these cycles of it's feast or famine. If a margin can be made, if consumers are willing to just fork over all their money, like to me, I'm not the consumer of a $250 booster box. Usually when a new set comes out, as a family, we open a booster box together. Maybe we even open a booster box and a couple ETBs. And Surging wasn't even Surging wasn't $250 when it came out. It was like what, $120, $130? Even that though, I just had a feeling it's like, hey kids, we're gonna split 2 ETBs today. And then with Prismatic, we split 1 ETB. It's like, me as a consumer, I'm scaling back what I normally do because the prices are crazy. And it's gonna be some combination of supply going high enough, demand going low enough, the supply demand equilibrium shifting, and we're gonna get the sub $100 booster boxes again. We're gonna get the sub MSR. Not only sub, like, I'm not calling for sub MSRP. I'm calling for sub $100. That's gonna happen again. I don't know exactly when. I don't know what will cause it, but it will happen.
Brad G's comment is all time.
I mean, yeah, I was wrong. I was wrong to as again, actually he or they sent me a link. The experience share sent me a clip from my live stream in January, and I'm terrible with exact wording. It was something like, I don't see $10 a pack Crown Zenith in 1 year happening. I don't see a way that could happen. I said something along those lines. In hindsight, I should have used, I always need to be safer with my wording. You can't say something so forceful. Like, the G word is dangerous. I didn't guarantee that it wouldn't happen, but I said something that was like pretty firmly, I don't see that happening. Like today, if you had to ask me, hey, Dan, do you think this is going to, I'll say like, I would expect that it's less likely to happen than happen, but I have no clue. And what I said this week earlier, it could be $20 for all I know. Crown Zenith could be a $20, $25 pack by January of 2026. Don't bet on that. I'm not really betting on that, but it absolutely could happen. It also, it still hasn't happened yet. People are, it's dangerous what people do. People are acting as if $10 by January is a certainty. I would bet more money that it will happen than won't happen today. But what is it right now? 8 or 850? It still hasn't happened, and it doesn't have to happen. It probably will at this point. But
It's
like
100%, I guarantee it'll happen.
So
I'm throwing the G word out there. 100%.
how much Crown Zenith do you have? I mean, that's only 10%, 20% gain at this point. But like, how much Crown do you have?
Not as much as I should.
Like, how do you not have more of it if you think it's like, I don't think it's guaranteed today. I know it's not. I know it's not guaranteed today to go to 10, but everyone acts as if it is. It's so scary.
It's
like
the most ripped set for every stream everywhere.
And you could see the
except
numbers.
for
There's
Ray,
no way.
who deals with those garbage
There's
Japanese.
no way it
stickers.
doesn't.
It's
like,
so
you
scary.
Can see the numbers. The numbers
how firm
are there.
people get.
It's going to happen. You need it to raise $1 in 8 months.
It probably will, but like, it's not guaranteed. But
It
like,
is 100%
Sea and Sky could just come for the next for the rest of the year. Like, it's probably not. I'm not saying it is.
We're done with no more Crown Zenith is coming for Dan. Come on.
I wish I was half as confident. I wish I was half as confident in all this stuff as most people that are guaranteed certainty. It is a certainty that this will go up 20% in a year in 10 months. Like, that's
I'm so confident that I literally quit my job to back this pony. So it's happening, man. Like, I'm confident. Like, you always say, if you were so confident, why don't you, buy all this? It's like, I can't do much more than quit my job and give this a full-time shot, So you always say those sentences.
There's a lot more you could do. There's a lot. I mean, I don't know your entire financial situation, but like mortgaging houses, there's like, and I wouldn't do that over a 10 or 20% gain. Like if Crown Zenith hits 10 by January, which it probably will, I'm on your side in that it probably will. To say 100% is bonkers in my mind of anything. To say 100% is dangerous because people are saying 100% chance boxes won't go under 100 ever again.
Dan, I'm a married man. I think you have way too much faith in my ability to make financial purchases like that with the wife, even if I told her it's a guarantee,
The fact that people like it's building to a level as it has in the past. It just gets scary in times like this when it's like things can only go up. How could a loose pack of a set that was printed millions and millions and tens of millions of times over, how could that ever go down? It's not possible.
You're
probably won't
about the most
popular
set.
Yeah,
we all of Scarlet or Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet. It is the number one set of two eras.
I can't wait to be called
even
bearish.
all those Sea and Sky boxes. How many packs are on a pallet? Me and you have talked about this. You've sent me pallets worth of Crown Zenith packs in one single box that you filled, and it's like, how many Sea and Sky boxes did somebody have to buy? and break down in order to fill up this ETB box full of packs with whatever. How many packs do you fit in an ETB box? How many?
920 or something.
So 920 packs that you sent me. It's like, how many Sea and Sky boxes is this? This is not enough. Like, you send me this and I'm like, I need more.
And see, I'm not saying it can't hit 10. I'm saying that there's a chance that it won't. The chance is low. The chance is low at this point. I'm on your side, but like the fact that
just use the G word for once.
It is not
guaranteed.
guaranteed.
Jake
I
are
promise.
the most boring people ever. There's a 0.0000001% chance that it might not happen, but I can't use the G word yet.
Yeah. But see, you don't want to use it because you're not an investor. Your money, you could be made by turning and burning and selling this pack constantly until it gets to $10, and you're going to make so much more money than if you were to sit on this. That's what other people don't understand, is like the way
you're telling me I'm not an investor, but I've had so many people for years tell me I'm an investor. Which one is it?
You're an investor.
I don't know what I am. I
Like,
truly don't know what I am. I don't know what this world is anymore. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being bearish because I have so much at stake, and it's easy. It's easy to. I don't know.
But for you, the way our business runs, that it would be the dumbest decision you could make to wait for that to go to $10. That would be detrimentally crippling, like financially, and the stupidest decision.
I have right now. I have 12,000-ish packs of Crown Zenith. So
how many do I have?
You have roughly, I haven't updated this fresh, but like 2,500 to 3,000, somewhere in there, which per your January and your February, you only have, you have a month, you have 5-6 weeks worth. You have 5 or 6 weeks worth, and you have nearly 3,000 packs.
Yeah. There's, with that kind of like burn through rate, I just don't see it not creeping up.
I understand the bull case. Like I listen to PokeTube. I know the bull case, but it just gets scary.
The bull
the
case
that I
15.
hear.
I don't, Nick. Do you think we're doing the bullish case? I feel like we're doing the irrational.
I think we're doing like the
going to $10.
I think
at a minimum it'll be $10 a pack at the end of the year.
A bull case, we could have a different. You want to have a bull case?
It could be 20. It could be 20. I think there's a 10% chance Crown Zenith is 20 by January. But I think there's a 1 or 2% chance that it's not even 10 by January. I think the range of potential outcomes are a lot wider. Like people just see this. Oh, well, I don't know which way I'm facing.
Well, what's the chances that it's less? What's the chances it's less? How about that? So now we're gonna have
like a couple percent, 1 or 2, very low percent chance that it's less. I think that's what I would. But it's non-zero. It's not.
I
could go into a recession, depression.
I have a good way for you to say it's a
Nick's going to try to get me. Nick's going to try to get me.
If I took your $5,000 bet of a set not being under whatever $100 in 3 years, would you take a $10,000 bet that Crown Zenith is going to be $10 a pack by the end of the year?
No, I mean,
because your bet is stupid. Nobody would take that bet.
But no, my bet isn't my like. I've heard several people say. Not, I'm giving a 3-year time frame. I'm being generous. I've heard people say that there will never be a booster box under 100 again, ever.
Well, that's
an insane
statement for somebody to say that, because that just ignores history.
I've heard multiple people say that. And it's like, that's insane to me. I think it's also insane to say it was like, I'm admitting fault. I'm admitting I was wrong. That when I said in January that like I'm not going to even get into that nuance.
Listen, I'm not throwing shade at Mason, but make no mistake about it. Mason went out and said booster boxes will never be less than 120, and then they dropped to 80. So
I generally agreed with that. I was like, I think we had that conversation on PokeFlips a couple of years ago, and I generally agreed with it. Or maybe that wasn't on Poke. Mason was earlier than that, I think, when he had like a pallet of Battle Styles ETBs for $20 or whatever. But anyways, at the time that he was saying that, I generally agreed with the sentiment. And I realized like how when we're in this boom, it's just a funny thing. It's a funny thing to even talk about, because if things stayed flat, if and when things go down, when boxes are $99.99 again on eBay, most people that are all rocket emojis, line go up, most of those people will be gone. Most of the people, like, I wouldn't even be able to say I told you so. I don't want to say I told you so. I would love if this fairy tale land that people are talking about would come true. I would make a ton of money, but I promise you it's not going to. On a long enough time frame, I will bet a lot of money in 3 years time frame that it will happen. But it becomes silly to talk about such like. But when you use guarantee, it's just crazy. When you use guarantee, it's crazy.
So I think you would have said the same thing. Like, I don't see a Black Swan event coming, and we're in kind of a Black Swan event, but I just can't point to the catalyst this time around. There's just too many factors. But
I mean, I hear people saying that there's like no shot that anything cools down between now and the 30th. It might not, but it also might. And I know it's crazy to say things so strongly because people have no idea. People have no idea what's actually going to happen. But then once it happens, like so many people in this space, 6 months, six weeks, 6 days, and they come in like with all this confidence, and they've not been proven wrong yet. And when they get proven wrong, it's like they're going to be gone. So
I got one. So I want to answer Collect Kid 92. He said, mortgaging your house to invest more is not practical when your mortgage isn't paid off. Well, I will tell you right now that I refinanced my house at 2.5% and I'll tell you what, that's free money at that point. I will not be paying a dime towards my mortgage extra at 2.5%. So I feel I could do way more. I'll answer that question.
I think I have more questions starred.
I will be right back.
Okay. But yeah, I'm bullish on cardboard in the long term. I just get a little bit fearful. What's the saying by Buffett, right? Be greedy when others are fearful. Be fearful when others are greedy. No one is afraid right now. And it's a little scary. When everyone is G word, it only goes up. Crown Zenith is definitely going to do this. This is definitely going to do that. It can't not do that. It's getting a little bit scary. It is all I'm saying.
Yeah, we're in bubble territory like that, irrational exuberance. But I feel where me and Nick are coming from, I think me and Nick we're positioned differently than a lot of people. Is like, I make money if this hobby goes down. Does that make sense? Like, I don't lose money. I feel like people are just worried that when the market drops, they lose money. Like, I make money in this hobby if there's $100 to be made. I make money if there's $1 to be made, you know? And I feel like you are positioned the same way. Like, no matter if things are up or down, as long as I think the problem is the volume will change though. When the crash happens.
Did we bet $10 on it? If I owe you a Crown Zenith pack, then I'll send you a Crown Zenith pack. I don't remember betting anything specifically on it, but I'll definitely pay out my bets.
Zenith pack. That is a perfect answer.
Where am I capping? I don't know where I'm capping. I'm saying like it could go flat or down. Low likelihood, but it could happen. The fact that people can't seed that like not everything is guaranteed to go up is just scary. Yeah, I didn't think we made a bet, but I mean, hey, you definitely won the bet and you won it very quickly. 8 or 10 months ago, as I said it, I didn't even really fully believe it. But I said on a live stream that like I bet there will be a $300 Scarlet and Violet Era booster box within the next year. As I said those words, I didn't really fully believe them. The only reason I said it is because for the past 11 years I've been in the hobby, I say this all the time. For the past 11 years I've been in the hobby, things have hit my price targets in months that I thought it would take years or decades to hit. Like I've constantly been, but at some point I'm going to get a little bit too bullish. At some point I'm going to stick my neck out a little bit farther. And it's happened to a lot of people a lot of times in the 11 years I've been here, but it hasn't happened to me yet, really drastically. And it's going to happen at some point though. And maybe I'm more sensitive to it because over half my net worth is in Pokemon. And I'm not talking like $3,000 of a $5,000 net worth. I'm talking like I have a lot of packs and boxes and cases, and it just gets a little scary.
So look at Kristen Diaz's comment. And, you know, it brings me up to something like, unfortunately, can you have a like a factually correct statement that is both correct and incorrect at the same time? And I think in this example you can. So if 18 months ago somebody was to tell somebody you should take, or maybe it would be better to phrase it, the best and worst advice, can you have something that would have been the best and worst advice? The worst advice you could have ever gave anybody 18 months ago was to say, you should go out and get a interest-free credit card for 18 months and max that thing out on Pokemon. That would have been the worst possible thing you could have told somebody. But
objectively
if you told them that, it also would have been the best possible thing you could have. You could have changed somebody's life by giving them the worst and best advice possible.
And
so
like
it's scary.
With all information, it is like objectively bad financial advice. But in hindsight, like it would have worked. They would have made a stupid amount of money.
Advice ever given.
So yeah, and that's where you run into issues. If you deem the outcome of a decision being a good decision or a bad decision based solely on its outcome, that is wrong to do. You can I use the casino as a good example of this. You can go into a casino, like you could go into a casino with $100 grand. You'd probably have to call ahead. You'd probably have to get approval for it. But in Vegas, in a big enough casino, you could get approval to go to a table with $100 grand, put it on green 0. 40 people could do it. One of them, 35x their net worth. 39 of them statistically lose their entire net worth.
Dan,
and
I do struggle.
One of them, it was
luck.
The right decision.
I think that does degrade what we do a little bit, because it puts that every decision we make is completely luck. And I do not.
And those are inherently negative EV. Yeah.
And I do not believe what we are doing is complete. I mean, we talk about this stuff a lot. And I think if people are like, hey, PK, let's look at every single thing you've ever done. And every single one of that I've ever done is like every single one of these, we just are going to contribute to luck. And it's going to be like, I don't know. Like I was looking at market indicators. I was looking at sell-through rates. I was looking at what's available on product or on distribution, what isn't, what are current stocks on Pokemon Center, what is, the sell-through rate on some of this stuff. Like, I think to say that, to compare it to gambling, which is just, there's nothing but luck involved in gambling statistics. I don't think it's completely fair to say that about Pokemon, because there's a gamble aspect involved, but I think there is more to it, though.
And if you're using a credit card, like that makes it more gambly, right?
That makes it more. Well, I'm just kind of throwing that out there because I want to make this chat spicy in a sense.
I think the analogy is decent, because the person who hit green 0, they 35x their net worth. They made a ton of money, and they would be reinforced that like that was a good decision. I'm trying to make the analogy of like outcome doesn't have anything to do with correctness of decision with the information you have at the time. But where my analogy is weak is that going to a casino is inherently fundamentally negative EV, whereas speculating in Pokemon isn't so clean cut. Like if Pokemon grows in the coming years, as it has over the past several, it could be inherently positive EV. Like it's unknown EV, whereas a casino, that's just math. Casino's EV is known going into it. So, and it's always negative. But every decision is made.
Yeah, South Park, where they're like want to win back the town, and they put the money on, and then they hit the number, and then they're like, "Let it ride." And then they're like, "Whoa, you got all your money," and they're like, "You don't know anything about gambling, Stan."
You never quit on a hot streak. And as sad as it is, like that stuff is happening in crypto right now. That stuff is happening in like different areas. People that hit on Dogecoin and they hit on this and they hit. Eventually, if you take that much risk, another Buffettism, or maybe this is Munger, I can't remember. When the tide goes out, you see who's been swimming naked. And there's I don't know when, I don't know how, but when booster boxes go back down to $99.99 shipped on eBay, they will. You'll find out who's been swimming naked. It's gonna happen, but it's definitely not all luck. But there's a large amount of luck. More than some people think, less than some people think.
So I was talking about this, and I think you guys, probably this is a good channel. You guys should talk about it more. But it's like, I'm fine with stuff going down, and I think Nick's fine with it going down. I think you're fine with it, and I think a lot of it goes is like when you talk about it all the time. Just now going back to the gambling analogy, hedging yourself. There are ways to hedge yourself against eventual downturns too. You know, like position yourself where you do well.
Don't make me show the buckets.
That bucket would be so bad in Pokemon. Like if you did any of that bucket in the last 2 years, that was negative EV across the board.
Retro says irrational exuberance is the most hubristic, condescending phrase. LOL. It's effectively saying your opinion is right and everyone else's enjoyment and valuations are incorrect. Big yikes. Retro, on Wednesday night in my live stream, there was people saying that nobody would ever sell for a loss. Retro, that is irrational exuberance. That's not me being arrogant. That's not me being hubristic. That is factually incorrect, and that is irrationally exuberant, and that is effing scary. I don't know what more to say to you than that. If that doesn't like distill it down into the fundamental thing, it's a little bit scary out here because people are a little bit greedy and irrationally exuberant. Give me
People
pushback.
sell for a loss all the time.
Give me pushback on that single statement. I know I rant and I ramble. Take that 30-second clip, Retro, and show me where I'm being arrogant, hubristic, condescending. That is just statement of fact. Not everyone. And this is like, I just made a video on Monday. More people that I'm confident in saying more people are investing than ever. But simultaneously, more people are ripping than ever. PK, I listened to your live just this morning. PK was having a little bit of trouble saying the immovable object versus the unstoppable force. And he got it eventually. But like these two things are at odds. I am ripping more than I've ever ripped. I am investing more than I've ever invested. Which one will win? I don't entirely know. But some of the statements that are being made, and they're being made more and more. I don't have like a chart to plot it out. But if you could scrape the financial the Poke investing subreddit, and if you could look for words like guaranteed, if you could look for words like only goes up, I'm quite confident what you would find. I think you'd find an increasing thing, and at some point that will all come to a pass. At some point it might be a little bit ugly, but we're gonna revert to sub $100 booster boxes.
What's that financial disclaimer they always give? Past results do not dictate like future results or whatever. What's that legal disclaimer that's on everything?
Historical results are not indicative of future performance.
Yeah,
like
I feel like we're gonna have to start saying that in Pokemon pretty soon.
And I'm not saying everyone's saying that. I'm not saying everyone's investing. There's always gray area, there's always nuance. But like some amount of people, more than we're saying it 6 months ago, more than we're saying it a year ago, people are saying irrationally exuberant things. That's just like a statement of fact.
But how many people are saying this stuff? I feel like it's people who
maybe
are
the one person that's
investing
saying
it
it is
like
in my
it's the
chat.
minority than the
Yeah,
majority.
That might be the problem too, is you're lending too much credence to the people that don't, you know.
And some people say, like years ago, people would say everyone's investing. Everyone, like to give the counterpoint too, right? So some people are saying everyone invests, no one opens. Look at the Moonbreon Pop. The Moonbreon Pop's 15,000 in the PSA 10. Those are 1 in 1 to 2,000 pack pull rates. That means that somewhere between 15 million and 30 million booster packs of Evolving Skies were opened just for the Umbreons that were graded. This is also a recent video that I did. I don't know if every Moonbreon that's ever been opened was graded. I'm quite confident there's at least one raw one out there. Maybe there. To be fair, I don't own any, so I don't know for sure that there's maybe everyone's been graded, but I would speculate only 10 to 20% of those that were pulled were graded. So that means not 15 million packs, not 30 million packs. That means there's been 100 million packs of Evolving Skies opened. That's a lot of freaking product. We, on our little operation on Fanatics Live, we ripped 4,000 packs in a week. So the people who say everyone's investing, investors selling to each other, scalpers selling to each other, that's not right. That's not real either. So I see the bull side, I see the bear side. I land somewhere in the middle, not as close to the bull side that some people would like, not as close to the bear side that other people would like, but I don't know. It's not that vocal of a minority. I used to be in a very tight bubble as far as the content I would consume. Back when Nick used to make YouTube videos, I used to watch them all. I watch all PKs. I watch a handful of the same podcasts. I've really been stepping out and I've just been like going down the general YouTube rabbit hole. The amount of investor channels that have popped up, and I've called them cosplay investors. The amount of channels that are less than 6 months old that say these things. I have watched channels with 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 subscribers say that sealed doesn't go down. Sealed is guaranteed to go up. Say that nobody sells for a loss. This is, it's not one person. It's maybe it's only 10 people, and I've watched all 10, maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah, but then you also got to think like that's the hot topic right now. How many of these, like the Ferrari guy that you showed me years ago, how many of those people are actually buying a good portion of sealed to hang on to? How many of them actually believe what they're saying? It's easy to say all this investment advice, but are they actually doing it? And are the people watching these videos actually doing it? Or are they buying one box? How involved are they actually?
Retro said he just got to me flashing the buckets. He's not going to like what he gets soon. Oh, man.
Can we get that? This is not financial advice flashing up.
Pokin Fun says 3,000 plus of those Moonbryons came straight from the factory. Potentially. I mean, we saw the Fusion Strike Horde. Did he drop some out of his pocket on the way? Oh, man.
See, I'm so happy the Fusion Strike thing happened, because otherwise, if you were to, that exact scenario, like to the T, exactly how many, if you told somebody that happened, people wouldn't believe you. And if it wasn't for that Fusion Strike video, everybody would be like, oh, PK is just a big conspiracy theorist saying all these. Do you guys hear that? PK on Pokeflips was saying all these things were stolen from the factory and all these were graded and they're all stolen. PK doesn't understand how many of these are getting ripped. And thank God that video came out, because nobody would ever put credence to it. So, but to think that probably has never happened again, that's the second time we know of it. Obviously, the Gold Star dogs, like, not question of if it did. It's like guaranteed. Is Walrus there, Nick?
What?
Is Walrus there?
Walrus
right
in the building?
No, he's at home.
That's one thing. Like, always know when you watch my channel, when you watch this, wherever I show up, I'm one guy. Let me find the quote. I love the quote. I'm just providing observational information to the best of my ability, and people can infer what they want from it. I'm one dude with one set of opinions. I am trying to make money in this hobby, in this business. I'm not going to get everything right. A lot of what I'm saying is opinion based. Some of it, I pointed out, like, some of it is just factual. Some of it is like, this is a fact, but most of it's nuanced gray area opinion.
Does it bother you that a large majority of your success in the hobby has, in a way, like, came kind of just doing the opposite of what you say? Like, you can say you take a lot of risk that the majority of people in this hobby would never take. Does that ever bother you?
I mean, I've never done the opposite of what I said. Going back to 2014, I've put out there like what I'm doing.
Dan, I've seen some of the plays, like some of the cards, like you say, these things are not guaranteed to go up, but I've seen how many of certain cards you've purchased to do mass grading plays and stuff. And and then you can say, oh, well, like that is,
I bought these at 110% of market, and I still have the spreadsheet. I'm going to show it in a video at some point. I knew there was a chance this goes down 20% by the time I get my grading submissions back. Since it didn't happen, people would say, no, there wasn't a chance, because it didn't happen. People are like really bad at understanding that there are different outcomes that could happen. Yes, only one happens. When you flip a coin and it lands on heads, it could have landed on tails too. It didn't. So some people would see you flip a coin and it lands on heads. Well, it's obvious it landed on heads. It couldn't have landed on tails because it didn't. No, that was still an outcome. There's a universe where this went down 20%. John and I might have had to fight to break even on this play. But in this one reality we live in, like, it tripled.
Listen, I think you're inadvertently kind of making my point, in the sense that, like, you are taking the risk that how many people were in that place and had the opportunity to buy that box, and then how many people could have bought it but passed on it, and then how many people can't afford it, blah, blah, blah. You could go down the line and say all that. But, like,
Mhm.
there was inherent risk there, and it was a decent amount of money, and you still took it. But like, you do preach the caution, but we all are not really heeding our own advice. Like, I don't know how.
My fun, like, if you had to distill my channel down to one set of advice, it's this: everything I do in Pokemon is here. All my 401ks are maxed out. All my IRAs are maxed out. I say, like, and I don't tell people to copy me. I say on this channel what I do, and I say why I do it, but I don't tell anyone to buy. I don't tell anyone to sell. It's like I'm one guy doing my best, and I'm degenning on certain things with like house money and with excess money that I'm comfortable losing. I am buying 12,000 packs of Crown Zenith knowing that it could be 950 in January of 2026. I also know that it could be 20. It could be 25. It could be 30 by January.
But you say excess money and you talk about filling your buckets, but you are filling your buckets by doing these plays. Like, in order for you to fill your buckets, you literally do the high risk plays, and that's how you say I'm here, but in order for you to fill those, you have to start at the end to get to the beginning. Like, you don't max out your 401k without you start at the end and you say, well, I'm doing all these first, but you're not. You're starting at the end, and then you're using that money to fund everything else. And I think you're saying all this stuff, like when you talk about all the buckets, you're like, I filled these first, but you don't fill them unless you had that last piece. So you start at the end
as an
and work your way
engineer
back to the beginning. I think that is what a lot of people are kind of saying. Does that make sense at all?
Not really.
I know you'll have pushback to it, but this is why we have.
No, I know. This is like, I'm not mad. This is an interesting conversation. I was filling those buckets as an engineer while my wife was a teacher. Right now, my wife's a teacher. Yes, my buckets this year, last year, next year will be filled by the money that comes from Pokemon. But the primary engine of my business is not this. The primary engine of my business is not boxes doubling overnight. Right now, the primary engine of my business is buying from 70 to 80% and selling for 100 to 115%. And that's always been a thing in Pokemon. That always will be a thing. That's a thing in completely dead card games too. So the fundamental engine of my business is not super risky. I understand what you're getting at, but the buckets first started when I was a full-timer in the engineering space, and all that was filled. And I didn't quit my job until like in 2021 in July, when I put in my 2-week notice. My 2021 things were already fully filled. My 401ks and IRAs were filled with some part Pokemon money, some part engineering money. And yeah, like the primary engines, the consulting, the consigning, all that does that stuff. The more known, the more certain. None of it's guaranteed. A lot of it's inherently risky. But no, the big speculative gambles, that still comes afterwards.
I think it's a good conversation. I like to just challenge you.
And you don't have to fully agree. Like you by no means have to fully agree. Like this is but it is good conversation. I need to catch up with the chat, but let me see if there's another. Here's a good one for Nick. Maybe has eBay Live ever once advertised? I have not spoken to a single person who's even heard of them. I would feel so slighted.
They're starting to a little bit. I don't know. I think it's the same as. I think it's like Whatnot does a ton of advertising. You see them everywhere. Drip and even Network do a ton of advertising. You see them everywhere. eBay and Fanatics, I don't think either of them do any advertising. And maybe it's because they're so new. But like eBay, I forget how I heard about eBay Live. I knew about that one. Fanatics, I did not know that was a thing until Dan started talking about it. So yeah, I don't, hopefully they start advertising more, but the way things are going, it's going really, really well over there. So even without them doing this massive marketing campaign, it's going very, very well for me. So I don't feel slighted in the least bit.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I kind of what Chad said is I don't remember. I never heard of eBay Live if it wasn't for you guys. And I was very interactive with eBay for a very long time, and I would have no clue. And I think the same thing about Fanatics too but they're dumping a lot of money into customer acquisition cost. I don't know if eBay has that ability, or well, no, I shouldn't say that. They definitely have the ability, but I don't know if they have the want, unfortunately. And you would know.
I think they're going in another direction. They want to get good sellers who will bring an audience versus trying to get individual buyers with that incentive.
One thing I just wanted to add, sorry, I had to run to the bathroom, but I did hear what you were saying. Bullish, right? If eBay and Fanatics are doing this well for our businesses individually, and they're barely advertising, it's like, think of that upside if and when they start advertising. That's one thing that makes me feel good. I had this conversation with Nick before, but like Probstein with BYD bid, I worry a little bit for Nick and for eBay Live that they might just eBay vault him on that. They might just sell eBay Live. They might just buy some other platform and take over the work that he's been laying for a couple of years. But that's a risk. I really don't know.
But Nick, you have a really good relationship with them, right? Probstein, like they're in your chats all the time talking. I've seen them in there. Like what's his name? Rick, right? Rick Probstein.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have like a personal relationship with him now, or at least relative.
Yeah, he does come in and hang out in the live streams every now and then. So that's cool. And I'm not, who knows what'll happen with that bid, but I don't think it'll ever be a PSA vault type of situation. I think if anything, eBay buys bid from him and integrates it. So like when you go to eBay Live, it transfers you over to bid. I don't think it'll ever be a situation where it completely disappears and transfers over to PSA instead.
So it's not going to do platform, is what you're saying. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what ends up happening with it. But yeah, the amount of, I've said this so many times, Troll and Toad Evo, eBay Vault, eBay buying TCG Player, the amount of acquisitions, PSA buying SGC, PWCC leaving eBay and then getting bought by Fanatics, and the amount of shakeups that the industry has had. And people call me a bear a lot of times. People think I'm too bearish. I quit my job to do this too. I have over half my net worth in this stuff. I'm short plastic, short irrational exuberance, short on some of the crazy phrases and things that I hear, but I'm long cardboard. I am in every way, in every sense of the word. I am long on this hobby. I'm long on Pokemon, long on cardboard. I just, when I see and hear scary things being done and said, I like to pump the brakes a little bit. And I think like that's my purpose as a channel, my purpose, my role in this place. I don't think we need more, well, I do put rocket emojis on my thumbnail. I was just gonna say I don't think we need more rocket emoji channels in the space. But
do you think our channels are net positives or net negatives for the hobby as a whole? Because I feel like you just talked about some channels. I know you didn't really say names, but it's like, are those channels net positives or net negatives? You know, I'm
very big. Some people won't like to hear this, but I'm very big on personal responsibility. I don't think there's definitely channels that could be done in a way where they were a net negative, but I truly think most of the responsibility is on the person. Like, even if there's a channel out there telling you all this stuff is guaranteed to go up, you have to buy this stuff right now. And when eventually they come down, say someone was telling you $1,000 EVs, good investment, go buy. $1,000 Pikachus and $9,000 base set unlimited PSA 9 Charizards. I think it comes down to the person ultimately clicking those buttons and making those decisions at the end. So even though I think that channel would be dangerous and wrong in a lot of ways, most of the blame, the vast majority of the blame, would go on the people who got hurt. Like, I wouldn't call them victims of that person. I would call them victims of their own terrible decisions, blindly following some PokeTuber. So I think generally speaking, and I would say the same, we're not going to get into politics or anything like that, but I think most people that have a YouTube channel are just trying to have fun, trying to educate, trying to put like positivity out into the space. Most of them, not all of them, and I think some of them do so in ways that are ways that I wouldn't do it. But it's like,
so is it predatory then? Is it a predatory? Because you're now, because when you say,
I think what makes it predatory is like there are predatory. Let's look at live streams. There are predatory live streams that say bid, bid, bid. I can't believe you haven't bid yet. This stuff, like grading is this much. I'm losing money when they're not actually losing money, when they're just making up numbers and just lying. There are predatory live streams, but I think it's wrong to do that. I wouldn't allow you and Ponga to do that. We're not going to do that on KetchumAllCollectibles live streams. But it's not illegal. And I put a lot of that truly on the consumer as well. The only reason it exists because there's a demand for it. And like, I think like I'm a gambler. I'm not a problem gambler because I can set limits and I'm not like addicted to it or anything. But I think gambling is just like inherently a dumb thing, right? You just go and you go throw money away, but it's fun. It's like, I think there's room for some of those more over the top personalities. I don't know. It's all an interesting conversation, but too many people just go straight to the victimhood when they're making adult decisions, and then they just want to externalize like, oh, I can't believe I bought that $1,000 EV, and this YouTuber who said it was a good investment is the fault for that or whatever.
Yeah, I don't get. It's the people who are buying that stuff. It's their own fault. But at the same time, I don't think the people who are doing that type of stuff are watching your videos. I feel like people who are watching you both are a lot smarter than the people watching those investment type videos.
I've had people reach out to me and say like, hey Dan, I didn't even know, like I heard the acronym for, or not an acronym, but I heard I've heard of 401ks. I've heard of IRAs. Until you talked about them so much, until you showed me your buckets so many times, I didn't think to find out what it meant. And I've had people message me and say like, because of you, I looked into it and I enrolled into my 401k after being at my job for 12 years. And I'm now getting a 5 or a 10% match. How many people have told me that in the past few years? It's like 2 or 3. It's not like it's hundreds of people every week messaging me. But I've gotten that message. And you know what that message, like that message makes me feel good. They're like, I can't believe, like I literally put in, say they make 50 grand a year. I put in 5% and they put in $250 or sorry, $2,500 it would be. They put in $2,500 and they just get $2,500 for free guaranteed. Some people didn't know that was a thing until they heard a random balding PokeTuber yell that at them in a late night live stream with red lights on behind them. So yeah, I don't know. I put out information that I believe in, and I put out talk that I'm walking. I don't tell people to do things. I just tell people what I do and the way I think about things. And I'm not always going to be right on things, but I'm very rarely wrong on things though too, because I'm like a weatherman. If you just attribute percentages, you can't be wrong, right? It's like there's a 99% chance of this or that, and might go up, might go down. I'm never really wrong, but I did get a little bit too firm in my doubting Crown Zenith could be 10 by January. Let's see. I just jumped. Here we go. What's Shadowless? What do you guys think will happen this holiday season if we don't see substantial reprints? I fear we haven't seen the worst of it yet.
Oof. Could get
It was pretty
rough.
bad last holiday season. Probably pretty indicative of what happens. I mean, we didn't have supply come Christmas time last year. So probably be about the same.
No, it'd be way worse.
Yeah, I think it'll be the same.
No shot. We had
Put numbers on
plenty of
things.
151. We had plenty of surging.
Put numbers on things. What's a surging booster box? What's a prismatic ETB? Let's throw some numbers out there. Let's get some clips taken.
Holiday shopping is parents buying for their kids. They'll just buy whatever's on the shelves. I don't think parents are going out. I don't know. I don't think they're hard to say.
Yeah, but it's parents shopping, but then it's also people getting money and gift cards and all that type of stuff too. That's where we see more of it. Is people getting gifted a gift card or Christmas bonuses from work or whatever the case is, and then spending it in the streams.
Let's pick one item and put two numbers on it. Put bull case, bear case, prismatic evolutions, ETBs. All this ranting, rambling about hypotheticals and theoreticals. Let's pick one product, and all three of us will attribute a bull case, bear case, and give us a percentage, and then pick a number between the two of like, this is my actual singular guess. No range.
Can we write this down just so?
Let's write it down. Write it down.
Right.
Yep.
So
write it down.
I grab a pen. Are we all ready to write it down?
I'll put it in my Google Calendar for December 1st or something. So I'm gonna put December 1st.
So wait, what are we doing? I don't know what we're doing here.
So bull and bear case.
ETB guess. So give three numbers. Give your bull case, your bear case, and then give you have to pick a singular number.
And then where I think it will actually be.
Yeah, like you're only allowed to pick one number. And then if you want to give us a little conversation around what are you doing today to shield yourselves if it's a lower number than where it's at, or what are you doing today to invest and speculate if you think it's a bigger number.
So what are they at now? They're at 100, 110?
That's a good question because I don't even know. I think they're at 120 or 130, aren't they?
Here we go.
I'm gonna pull it up right now.
Ooh.
138.35. Holy crap!
Higher than I thought they were.
My bull case might not be good enough, but
So they're 140. They're 140.
Okay, so I got this.
I'm gonna write mine down so
right
that you guys know that I'm not. Everyone write them down before we show them so that no one can change them.
all right.
I want to go last though.
All right. So my bull case that I wrote. Hold on. Is everybody done writing?
Hold on.
Yeah. Ugh, mine. I need to write it on a different sheet. That one has
so the third number is just what we think it's going to be at, right?
Because
No.
people don't like when you pick ranges, so you just have to pick a singular number that you think is most likely to be what it is.
All right.
Because your bull and your bear are going to be a number. Your bull should be higher than you think it will actually be, but you know that it could be, and your bear is lower than you think it will be, but it could be.
I went what I actually thought it was going to be.
So my bull is 225, where I think it's going to be is 95, and my bear case is 70. So bull 225. This is where my bull case. This is where I think it'll actually be at 95, and this is where I think the worst case scenario is 70. And I just
Nick?
I said
elaborate.
I think I did this wrong. Bull is 200, 80 is bear. Where I think it's going to be is 80.
okay.
You guys are so bearish. What's wrong with you guys? I'm going bull case. It could be 300. There is historical precedent. They so
Your bear case is MSRP. Get the F out of here.
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
the fact that people think
Out of
it,
here.
it, I promise you, it could happen. I don't think it will happen. You guys are getting on me about my bear case being 60 when my bull case is 300 and my actual estimate is 150. Like, what are we doing here?
What are we
I'll give
doing?
I'll give a 2% to 5% chance for the bull case. I'll give a 2% chance for the bear case. I think it will actually be like I had to put a single number, so I went 150. But I like it. That's hilarious to me though. That I get in trouble for having a bear case of 60 when my bull case is double or like 50. That's what I'm talking about. Like I'm not saying people see a bear case at 60 and I can't believe that Dan guaranteed that Prismatic would go back to MSRP. It's like, no, that's not what we're doing.
Yeah,
But
I heard the B
anyways,
word. You heard it right, Nick? I heard guarantee.
Yes. No,
I'll
I
give you
think Prismatic though, because Pokemon released. Who knows if it's true at this point? But Pokemon released all those statements saying we know product shortages, we're working on printing more, you'll see more of it. So for Prismatic, it makes sense, yes, that it will come down. It will be interesting. It will be interesting. But yeah, I do think Prismatic. Most people can agree that it will come down.
But here's my like thinking into why I picked these numbers. So the bull case depends on multiple things. The bull case depends on Prismatic not getting substantial reprints. There's some amount of product that still has yet to come out that we're like definitely getting to some extent, right? But one thing they've been doing lately, they've been not touching the ETBs as much. Like Crown Zenith ETBs were $90, $100, while Sea Skyboxes were at Costco for like $3 or $4 a pack. So there's a decent chance that Prismatic might be loose packs. Prismatic could be $6, $7 a pack loose packs, but the ETB could be 150 because they might like. I don't know if I think this is gonna happen, but
when do booster bundles get released? What's the date on those?
I just got them.
You just got them.
Okay. I think today's the release date for them.
Yeah.
So they the bull case is like Pokemon spends time reprinting Paldean and Obsidian, and they reprint like all the older stuff, and they just like get to Prismatic later or never. I don't think the bull case is gonna happen, but it could. Like Hidden Fates has been a $300 ETB. There's precedent for like crazier things have happened and could happen. And the bear case is like, no one wants to hear it. No one wants to believe it. They could, starting today, they could go on a campaign of like, we are going to print 20 million or 50 million ETBs of Prismatic. Like everyone's crying about Prismatic. We're going to give them Prismatic. And they could dump them all on November 1st. They could dump them all around Black Friday in a recession. Like I'm talking like the bear case. Like that could happen. The fact that people will say it can't happen scares me because there are ways that it could happen, but I agree it probably won't happen. But what I think it actually will be, I have 10 cases of Prismatic ETBs that I'm clinging to, that I'm trying to hold on to, because I think I'm not going to have many more points to get into it. Like if and when a Prismatic ETB reprint comes, my distributors will probably give me a case or two. I would love to have 10, 20, 30, 50 cases of Prismatic going into the future years on my pallets locked away. I only have 10 or 12. So I truly think that, and this is not financial advice, blah, 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 but I truly think that I'm going to be happy sitting on the Prismatic that I am today and into the future. So yeah, it's just interesting. The guy who's been bearish all stream is calling for a better actual and a higher bull case than the two perma bulls are, right?
I have a question.
Sorry, go ahead.
Why are you keeping ETBs of Prismatic? Because when you go to sell these, are you going to be selling them as sealed cases or
Yes.
ETBs, or are you going to break them down into loose packs?
Nick,
For the
I'm
streaming.
going to be selling them as sealed first print cases.
Oh God! No, but realistically, you're going to break them down.
No,
And use them for. You're not going to break them down and use them for inventory.
I can buy loose packs. I can buy packs. Well, at least I have been able to buy packs all the time from everywhere. I'm going to try to keep my sealed. I don't like dealing in anything except for sealed packs and sealed cases. So when I have sealed cases, like I do my best to source products that other people are breaking down so that I can keep my beautiful investment grade, only go up, sealed first print prismatic ETB cases. I want to keep those babies intact. And you know what I did? I got like 30 cases from both my distributors. All the yucky, gross ones I sent to PK and Ponga. All the yucky, gross ones with like ugly stop tape that was like crooked and like crinkled up. And I have 10 clean, pristine first print prismatic. So honestly, like I think prismatic ETB cases might be 1,500, but mine, I'm asking 2,200 for those babies because I know what I got. I know what I got.
I'm looking at a Pokemon Center exclusive prismatic sealed cases of the ETBs. Those are one of the things that I kind of was speculating on, thinking that they would do pretty good. They haven't done much since the release.
I think it's just too early. They started out so high. I don't think there was room for them to grow anymore.
And Kiki's on point right here. Dan always says he never goes bull enough for bull predictions. ETBs to 375.
I like that you put 300, but it's already now 375 in the internet. So you put 300, but everyone heard.
That's what he's saying though. But like I just got done saying earlier that like I've always put out a prediction that was like too bearish.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's gonna be 125% of my bull case, which is awesome. Dan, do you understand these EVs have hats, right? Hats, Dan. This means evolutions are in clothing. Historical precedent says clothed Pokemon only go up. Look at these are functionally Poncho Pikachus. So look at the Mario Pikachu, and that is what we should expect, right?
That's a better question. Do we get a Mario Pikachu product again? Same return, same timeline. What was 2016 Mario Pikachu? So 9 years. We do, because could there be something released today that 9 years from now does Mario Pikachu numbers,
like $8,000 from $30
from 100? Yeah, I mean, is it possible?
280x.
Is it?
I don't think so. I'm gonna say no.
Was it possible? If I asked you that question in 2016, is it possible?
We all would have said no. Like most reasonable, rational people would have said no, but they would have been wrong. Yeah, like.
But I don't think history does repeat itself, but I don't think it's the same extent. Because if they do come up with a new Mario Pikachu, like you just said, PK, if they come out with a Super Smash Brothers, you're gonna go all in on it.
They won't be available
every
for
single other person in Pokemon is gonna do the exact same thing. Whereas when the Mario boxes came out, they were cool, but nobody wanted them.
So I do think that there's a product that could get released, and whatever, and we're all going to try to go after their Chinese numbered promos. Come on, I could easily give you a case where 9 years from now it does that easily. That one promo is going to get released this year. Boom, there's your promo.
Yeah, and look how much people are talking about that promo already.
The issue is it'll be
saying it. I think that there is a promo released this year that could do that in 9 years. Now, not saying it will, but I'm saying it could. And that would be if you had to ask me, okay, PK, name me a promo, that would be it. And I could see Danny's probably like, come on, PK, you can't tell this to the people that watch this and everybody else.
That's a perma bull case. That's like, yeah, I mean, if all the crazy upsides hit, it could replicate, but it's less likely to. But yeah, being entirely fair, if you had asked us, Nick and I were both in the hobby in 2016. If you said like, hey, what do you think about this $30 box that you're not buying today? What do you think about this being $9,000, $8,000, $9,000? And if you ask certain people, they'll probably, I knew all along.
Yeah.
I knew all, like, how many do you have?
Are you?
It was obvious. In hindsight, yes, it is obvious that is what the price trajectory did. But that's what drives me nuts too. It's like, oh yeah, I mean, it was so obvious to me that this was going to happen, and that's why I have one. It's like it was so obvious Bitcoin was going to change the world. I knew of Bitcoin when it was $2. I knew of Bitcoin when it was $8. It was so obvious Bitcoin was going to change the world. How many do you have? 0.005 in my Robinhood account that I bought when it was $110,000 2 weeks ago. What are we talking about? It's people are funny. People can be very funny. But it's fun. It's fun to speculate. It's fun to theorize. Like I engineering was boring. I had to go in, I had to play with chemicals, I had to wear a respirator. I couldn't have this luscious beard. I got the same boring semi-monthly check in my account every year. And the bonus in the 10 years I worked there, it varied between 1% of my salary to almost 10% of my salary, maybe even a little more than 10% of my salary. One of the better years.
I've never
that was
had
boring. Now I've got it's like I used to get 3 to 5% raises every year. Never got a massive one, but I used to get consistent 3 to 5% raises every year. Now it's like I've got pallets of product going up and down and left and right and sideways, and I've got many multiples of my former salary at risk in inventory going up and down. It's crazy.
Dan, can you make a humble brag button instead of not
Yeah,
financial
yeah.
advice? Can we get a humble brag
The-
button? So when every time you humble brag, you could just hit the button. That would
The only one I have on hand is this one still from that
all right, we need
grading rant
we
the
need
other
a
day.
humble brag.
But yeah, it's fun. It is fun to think about it all. There we go.
There you go. Humble brag. Perfect.
It's fun to try to like think in this space. I just get a little. I know it's like I'm taking it more seriously than it is probably. But when people start dropping the G word, when people like, it just gets a little scary. Be fearful when others are greedy. There's a lot of greed out there, but we'll see what happens. I'll be here for it. I'm here for it either way.
It's like the greed is good thing from Wall Street. I don't know. I think where your problem is, and I maybe it's not a problem. I think where your concern is, and where my concern, and probably where Nick's concern is too, is that I think we're just worried that people that are not positioned to be holding the bag will hold the bag in the end. Does that make sense? Like you're positioned in a way that if you're holding the bag, like whatever, I'm holding the bag. You've already mentioned it's like if I'm sitting on 10,000 Crown Zenith packs and it crashes, it's like it is what it is, and I'll make it work. I think your concern is always for the people that could be holding that bag and they can't make it work.
Mhm.
Oh man, that's hilarious. I need to get going again. I injured myself in my Air Alert program, and I haven't really gotten back into anything. I at this rate, I'm not going to be able to dunk, which is going to be not good. This was asked like an hour ago at this point, but I have it starred. What cards are you buying raw to grade these days? Spill the plays. I showed one.
This is the only play that matters.
The where'd the other one go?
This is the only play that matters.
Mm.
Dan, did you see this? Did you see my live about this?
I did, yeah.
Did you see what the buy-through rate was?
Yeah.
138 sold in a day.
PK pumping the market.
No, don't show that stuff.
I honestly, I don't buy and grade that much anymore in the past few months, but I've got a small grading pile here in front of me. These were ugly though. I bought like 50 or something, or 50 or 100, and they were chewed up.
See, these are plays people don't talk about enough. Are these
underscore retrospecs on Instagram, $19 a piece.
The sealed promos though? Like people don't talk about these being the sealed promos. Same thing with like the Jolteon, the sealed ones.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's still in a play. I don't think people really understand.
There's lots of plays out there. There's always something. Why are we not seeing opening of PE surprise boxes in masses like we've seen with something like Mew UBCs? Is it a print run issue or a hoarding sealed issue? I didn't get many. I don't know about you, Nick, but I personally opened all of them that I got. And I just sent the I looked over the promos quick. Mine were not in amazing shape. I sent most of them to PK or Ponga. I sent a few to be graded with CGC, and then auctioned down Fanatics. Oh, that was the basketball game one.
Yeah, the Rain City promo.
yeah, I had way more Mew UPCs than I had of the PE surprise boxes, and obviously the promos in the Mew UPC were guaranteed included in every box, whereas the ones
Don't talk about those, please.
the ones in the PE surprise boxes were 1 of 9, right? So whatever amount they printed, there's only 1/9 of that for each given promo. But I just, and somebody shortly before that had asked, "Are prismatic surprise boxes the best investment ever?" I don't like stuff like that.
That is the worst product we have gotten in a long time.
The amount of air, it is disgusting. Yeah. You open it up and it's like, and to be fair,
steel look good on yours? Because literally all of mine were wavy, and it looks terrible even as a sealed product.
You can barely see it, but like I've got a poncho box above me. To be fair, I mean, we were talking about what's going to be the next poncho box, what's going to go up 300%. The poncho boxes were kind of gross too, with how much air they delivered. Like 2 promos, and then like 5 or 6 packs. I mean, pretty similar to what the prismatic surprise boxes are, right?
No,
does that mean those
not
are?
at all.
Does that mean those are going to go up?
You're getting
times?
A double rare that you could get from a pack with a little set symbol stamp on it.
People love stamps.
Oh, stupid!
Look at the PC ETB promos.
Those make sense because it looks good. It looks good.
I have 0 prismatic surprise boxes.
Those look so bad. It's terrible.
Dan, I wonder why you have 0 prismatic.
And I only had like 50. I only had like 50 or 60 between my 2 distributors. So I just ripped them all. They took up way too much space. I didn't want to put them on the pallet. I want to deliver actual packs to the pallet, not just air. So but maybe they all get opened because there's too much air. Maybe people who sock away some of them, maybe they're 300% gains in 10 years. I would doubt it, but I will not guarantee that won't happen.
If that happened.
Nick, are you going to guarantee that it won't happen? Let's get a clip.
Let's go for it. Yeah. What are we saying? 9,000 in 9 years?
Yeah. Are you guaranteeing that those won't go a 300x? I think it would have to be higher, right? Because I think they're more expensive than the poncho boxes were when they came out.
Yeah, we'll guarantee that one too. I will say though, the little dividers, those were actually really nice in the surprise boxes. I wish we could get those for the ETB ones. I actually really liked those. But the whole, because like when you opened them, everything was just like scattered around loose inside. It's such a bad product. But the dividers, those were nice. Everything else. Yes, invest in the dividers.
I don't even remember the dividers. I don't know where I put them. I must have a
I say they were nice, but I threw them all away because they're stupid side dividers.
That's hilarious.
They just do the dividers like this now.
But yeah, they didn't in the prismatic. I don't remember the prismatic dividers.
They were the longer ones. They weren't ETB size because it came in the longer box. But,
I must have them in a 5-row box somewhere because I'm a hoarder. I don't throw away dice. I don't throw away condition markers. I have a problem
shit all the time, Dan.
I used to be like that, but now I'm paying $150 a month for a storage unit filled with dice and sleeves and.
That's so dark. I don't have a storage unit. I just have. I have external storage with where my dad and I keep the pallets. And I guess PK and Ponga are external storage too, but I have too many 5 rows
charging you storage fees then if that's the case.
I don't send the dice. I don't send those. I keep those in 5 rows at my house. I keep all the crap at my house, and I send the goods to be sold on the lives.
You sent me all those jumbos. That's the only thing. Oh, you want to hear a top signal, Dan?
Another one?
I'm down to 1 box.
Oh, I need to send you more. Let me make a note.
Oh God, worst thing. Talk about my trigger in the hobby. That's it.
Let's see. I need to do biz cards to PK. I tried to send you a thing to UPS today, but they were actually closed. They closed at noon. I didn't know that. So I'll have stuff out to you on Monday. Sebastian says, let's say the next 20 sets Pokemon puts out are all excellent. How long could the boom realistically last? Could the hype never die if Pokemon has good sets figured out?
So I think that's a good question. So I guess the way I read it is, could the boom crash with a great set being released? Right? So in theory would have been like, could you have seen the hobby do a downturn with a release like Prismatic? Like, is there any way that Prismatic, the hobby downturns during a Prismatic release? And I don't see it, but that's a good question. It's a good one. It's a thought.
And I would say it's an easy yes, it could happen. Consumers and stuff are so fickle that it could happen. Will it? Unlikely. I think, and it's just like, good is so subjective. Like, remember when Scarlet and Violet was a bad set and now it's like a good set that people want because the price went up? It's so fickle what people will deem good and bad in hindsight. And it's always so obvious years later when Evolving Skies is okay. Yes, Evolving Skies, obviously that one's the most valuable. Obviously Moonbreon, except for when it came out, it was actually Rayquaza that was the most expensive and sought after and chase card. And it's just so interesting to see how these things change over time and ebb and flow. But
I still stand by what I said in my Scarlet and Violet opening video on YouTube. I don't like it. I don't like it. Even though the price has gone up, it's still a meh set for me.
You know, you could get an Arvin SIR though. I mean, come on.
Scarlet and Violet base is $187. That's so crazy. It was so obvious it was going to do that.
Obvious. What would you say was if you had to point to, what do you think was the most obvious play? And I don't mean this like in a haha. Like, if you had to say, okay, the most obvious play was this, and it doesn't mean it's the highest performing play, but what do you think was the most obvious?
All the things that I've said, like all the bearishness that I've been playing. This is everything I said, guys. That's not my answer. That's not my answer. That's the preface. But of all the things that I said in this stream, I think the most obvious thing, and I've been doing it I've been in the hobby for 11 years. I've been doing this one thing for 11 years. One thing, the most successful thing that I've done, buying wholesale Pokemon and letting it sit. That's like been one of the core engines to what I'm doing. I've bought raw and graded and sold for a margin. I've bought 80%, sold for 100, 110%. But I've always, and what gets dangerous, what gets scary is some people invest in 250 surging. Some people invest in $200 Twilight. I've always speculated, invested out of the gate. And if and when they do a Chilling Rain and they go 10, 20% sub, not sub MSRP, sub wholesale, I generally add more. I don't sell for a loss during those times. So that's one of the most obvious things. And it's ironic because it's the one thing that I like pump the brakes on. So I agree. Historically, sealed has gone up. It has performed well. But I just pump the brakes when I hear these guarantees and all this and that. Like, I'm right there with you. I'm actually, ironically, I'm doing it at a higher level. And this is, hold on, where's my button? I'm doing this at a higher level than a lot of people. But I'm not as bullish as them. Humble brag.
Oh, you're going to make it bold.
That's the humble brag that PK made me make earlier.
Oh, okay.
I think that's a new channel staple.
Ironically, I pump the brakes on the sentiment and the talk that people talk. A lot of the people talk that talk without walking the walk, the cosplay investors out there. So ironically, I think it's an ironic answer that I give, that modern sealed, but cost basis is everything. Some people hear modern sealed only goes up. They buy $200 Twilight Masquerade. They buy $200 Vivid Voltage. They buy $150 Battle Styles. And then it's the meme with the bike spokes and they stick the stick in the front spoke and then they flip over and they're like, thanks, PokeTubers. Like, no. There are a lot of like very bullish PokeTubers out there, and some of them do put their money where their mouth is. And a lot of them do say, I only buy when they're 80, 90, $100. And maybe in this current climate, maybe they're buying closer to 110, 120. But a lot of them do caution. But some of them, again, I don't even know the names. I couldn't name names if I wanted to because they're just a dime a dozen. But I've been watching a video with 10,000 views on a channel with 5,000, 10,000 subscribers that says this week's pickups. Hey guys, I just added a Surging Sparks booster box at 200. They've made 20% on their money, but like this is more like the roulette analogy. This is like they bought a Surging Sparks booster box at 200. They made 20%, which by the time they sell it, blah, 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 they don't make as much after fees. But those are the people that bought $200 Vivid Voltage and then had dead money for 4 years while so many other things were doubling and doubling and doubling. And you were just...
Those people weren't around for Vivid Voltage. They came in when the hype started, and they'll leave when the hype ends.
I don't think they were.
It's
some of them were. I don't think they were, though.
PokeNav
at least one. There is one person. There is one person out there, I promise you, that bought $200
they don't
Vivid.
Exist. They do
that
not
will buy
exist.
Something for 200 that does the same thing as Vivid did. And I think
but they're not on YouTube making videos.
Surging might be Vivid Voltage 2.0. Surging might spend 2 years at sub 150 after being 200 plus. It might not though too. I have no clue. In by end of year, Surging could be 300 and it could be 130.
I'm gonna give you the biggest no-brainer. So Dan, you preach I buy at 80% market. I buy at distribution. All right, ready? Raise your hand if you bought either a Brilliant Stars or Lost Origin booster box off of Pokemon Center. Raise your hand, please.
And that's, yeah, if Pokemon Center is like 20% below market, that's...
I'm just saying, every single one of you guys did it, and I bet you most of the people did in chat.
I was even worse. I didn't buy those good sets. I bought Vivid Voltage.
And it's $200 now. It's $200 now.
Baby. But like that's one of those things where it's just I felt like that was a obvious play.
So Nick, what are your biggest no-brainers that you've been acting on for the past decade?
What was
you
it?
Do the modern sealed thing. You do that too to some extent, right?
The one that I am kicking myself I didn't do more of was the gray felt hat Pikachus. Go ahead and show it. Can we get the
disclaimer?
That one though,
I was buying those for 60, 65.
That was not 70, a no-brainer though.
And I was selling them. Well, no, I was selling them for $90 to $100. But I didn't buy more because I had a bunch and I knew I could only sell one in the lives a week. I don't want to be selling them nonstop. So it was like I'm buying them from Europe at market, selling them for a 30% profit. And I knew those cards were so good. I absolutely love those cards. Even now, I still love that card. But I wish I had bought so many more of those.
Yeah. For me, it's similar to Nick, but if you guys have been following my channel for a while, you remember the special delivery Charizard I made. I don't know how many videos back to back, just saying special delivery Charizard, go get your codes. And then New Year's Eve, being at a party, walking up to every single one of my friends, using their phone and shipping Pokemon packages to their house on Christmas Eve. And it took me months to collect all those packages, but that was it for me.
and getting like a card like that is getting it at the right price. But if you just say without any context, like special delivery Charizard, free Charizard promo, yes, no, but
you had to pay. I remember on the day of New Year's Eve, the promo codes were like $3 or $4 because they had gone down so low because it was the last day you could buy them. So.
But this is what, like Kiki, at the same time I said it, gray felt hat was not a no-brainer. I'm not going to name names except Old School Pokemon. I'm going to call out one person by name, and that's Old School Pokemon. The guy who had this had 6 of them, and I had to fight to talk Radar into splitting it with me. And in hindsight, I should have obviously got my own case. Radar should have got a case. Nick should have got a case. I called and texted and talked to in person multiple other people who had the money to buy a case outright who did not buy it. So like, I promise you, there are a lot of people that have been in the hobby for a long time. Gray felt hat was not a no-brainer at 50. It was not a no-brainer at 100. It was not like, it went up. If you had bought it on credit, if you had borrowed money from the loan shark down the street that would have busted your kneecaps a year later if you hadn't paid him back, that would have been, in hindsight, a good idea. Objectively, though, with the information that we have, it is never a good idea to take a loan from a loan shark. But like in hindsight, Gray felt hat it would have been. Please don't take money from someone who will bust your kneecaps if you don't pay him back. Please don't do that. But if you did, you made money. Like, bless the hobby. Experience share. Would you have bought one? I didn't have a number at the time.
I want, because there's always someone who said, "Oh, you should have talked to me, Dan." 99% of these people would not have gone in with you.
Nick,
You
how many people would have wired you
because
50K
you
at
were
the
paying
time?
over market for these.
Nick, be careful, because last time I pushed back on the experience share, I made a fool of myself, and I said Crown Zenith would not double in a year. So he's got a good track record. He might have bought one. I don't know, but that's yeah. I mean, I paid 110. We paid 120 a piece when you could buy onesie twosies on eBay for 100 to 110. So we paid a 10 to 15% premium, let's say. And I talked to people with the pockets to buy those, multiple of those, and I didn't get any bites. I was Nick, if I hadn't talked to all you guys, I probably would have bought one myself. I should have talked to nobody. It could have been all mine. But I had to fight and fight and fight. And I'm like, everyone's running away. Am I this dumb? And yes, I was that dumb. I like, that was a risky play. You guys were right with all the information we had at the time, with all your ability to buy other things for 80 and sell for 100 and buy for 80, sell for 100. Paying 110% was like objectively at best questionable. But in hindsight, it's like the best play I've ever made, which is just stupid. It's so stupid, like, but it's hilarious. It's like indicative of, but again, the buckets are filled. I'm not doing this with my rent money. I'm not doing this with like my kids' college tuition. I'm not, and all that matters. All that matters.
I wish I went in just so I could show off my stupid Pikachu every stream.
Multiple phone calls were made and answered, and I was like, I'll pass. Thank you for calling me, but I'll pass. I got at least 5 passes, and I got 1 agreement. I got John Radar to go in with me, and I'm glad he did. I was buying. Well, I guess I'm kind of mad that he did, because if he didn't, I was committed. I was buying one. I was buying one myself either way, but I was so scared after talking to multiple people.
He's mad you did. He's mad. That was his exact words.
I'm gonna have him call in when I do my gray felt hat like post-mortem. When I do that video, I might do it on a live stream. I might just have John call in for that live stream. But I definitely need to get like a conversation with him, just saying our thoughts and our sentiment, and riding around the Ubers to the chase. That was an experience. I'll never forget that experience. That was awesome. But so I'm glad I had someone to share that with, but it's like, it was an expensive way to share a play, right? I was buying one either way, and I should have bought 1.5. I should have bought 2, but should is always easy.
Should have bought all he had.
It's always easy. Thank you, Poke and Fun. $1.99 super chat. Sam's Club has sub 200 classic collections. Buy ? What do you guys think? Classic collections.
Bro, if you hit 9s, you brick so hard on those things. So
I don't know.
There, Dan, I'm telling you right now, stop buying anybody selling you classic collection.
Oh, I haven't bought any in a long time, but like my distributor had them for a while at like 190 or 200, and they're actually gone now. They're only in Alaska. The Kentucky warehouse is out, so people will know who I'm talking about if they have this distributor. But I have like 20. They're massive. I don't like them. I should break them down at some point, but I put a handful in. This is not gonna 300x, I don't think, but I could see a bear case for this being a sneaky. It's gonna cost you $300 to ship it, is the problem. But I could see this being a sneaky thing in 5 or 10 years. Like, how is this worth that much? These were everywhere. I think so many people break them down, and I kept like 20 sealed just to. I could see that doing some stupid thing in 5 or 10 years, but like it probably won't outpace Evolving Skies team up Evolutions, Scarlet Violet base.
I'm a couple things I'm okay with being wrong about. Like, just so you said, the footprint of those things are massive.
Yeah. A pallet of those is like mostly. It's not even. Well, I wish it was air. It's not even air. It's like all the board and all the heavy crap. They're massive. So we did that one.
Can we wrap up in like 10 minutes? Oh, perfect timing for that.
This is perfect timing.
I gotta get ready for tonight. I gotta get ready for my marathon stream here.
This is from an hour ago. Nick questioning if doing this again in 2 weeks is worth it. Nick is
as I ask about shutting her down.
That was perfect timing. But yes, if you have any final questions, I think I have one or two more. No, actually, we did that one. I have one more in the chamber. I might have missed one. If I missed one, I apologize. But this is the final one I have in the chamber. If anyone has any other questions, leave them now. We'll be here for 10 more minutes. Did any of you spec on the Van Gogh auxiliary products, sleeves, etc. and why? I did not personally because too tedious. If I could have clicked a couple buttons and gotten 500 sleeves, I would have. But it was like fighting the bots, and I don't like fighting my own kind.
I got a whole shelf of that product, and I don't know what to do with it. So, it takes up an entire shelf.
Is it still in stock? Because didn't they re-release it?
There's no shot.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think it re-released, but it must have sold right out though. No, some of it's in stock.
Yeah,
really?
There's Van Gogh merch right now in stock on Pokemon Center. Let me.
Do they have the pin set?
Yeah, it's still in stock right now.
So they have double deck box.
Mm-hmm.
They have sleeves.
Oh, not the good stuff though.
Playmats. Yeah, most of it's sold out, but like they did. I forget when it was. A few weeks or a few months ago. They released some of it, not all of it.
I wanted to get one of the pin sets. I thought those looked cool.
Here we go. So that was our final question we had starred. Let me see if some other ones are popping in. I don't know what this means at the end. Friendships aside, what's your prediction of Metazoo 2? I don't know if it's supposed to be like Electric Boogaloo or
Hey buddy, you gotta go.
What are your plans on or your thoughts on Metazoo 2.0?
I love the people behind it. With the amount of knowledge and passion and all that stuff they have, I think they're the best people for Metazoo to make it last long term. But I think it's a huge uphill battle for them. I'm gonna say, what are we guessing? I think long term they'll be. I think it'll be here for a while. I don't think they're ever going to be super successful. Like I don't think they're going to be how successful Metazoo 1 was. If that meant like all the hype around the original Metazoo. I don't know if we're going to see that again. I don't think they're ever going to beat out like Pokemon Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, even Lorcana. I don't know if they're going to get that big. But I think they'll do well. I don't know. I'm really curious. All
right. Sorry about that. I had my kids came downstairs.
You're fine. What's your?
I was on mute, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your thoughts, prediction on Metazoo 2?
Listen. Ownership doesn't get greedy. Metazoo will do just fine. The second Metazoo gets greedy, they will kill that game for the second time. All I could tell people what I'm doing is I'm buying as much of the first set as I could get my hands on, hoping that there is not greed in Metazoo. That's it. That's my take.
I think there's definitely going to be greed in some amount of the consumption of it. I made a video on this Monday or last Monday talking about the risks of people speculating in card games, especially at their inception. Full disclosure, full disclaimer for anyone that didn't watch my Metazoo Saturday video a couple Saturdays ago, I'm a passive minority investor in the company that bought Metazoo. I have no say towards print runs, game design. I have no insider info, knowledge of anything. I actually just pulled up the Metazoo Discord. There's been 400 posts since 2 p.m. because today is the day that like news is supposed to drop. It looks like it hasn't dropped yet. There's just tons of people like excited, waiting for what it's going to be. Hopefully the news actually comes out today, because one thing Metazoo 1 had an issue with was like timeframes. And 3 weeks from today, base set is supposed to come out. I've put in pre-orders for 720 boxes. Why 720? Because it's about 40 to 50 grand, just like I used to buy back when I was a partner for UFO and Seance and all those sets. So like I am going to be partaking in it, but it is inherently risky. Like I'm the guy who says that there's some chance Crown Zenith doesn't hit 10 by January. So like when you get the context of I'm a guy that says that, Metazoo has a risk of going bankrupt again. I think, as PK said, if there's too much greed, if there's too much overprinting, not just like the risks of it are not only in the people pulling the strings, who I'm not. The risk of it have to do with the consumers of it too. If everyone's investing, if everyone's hoarding, speculating, and no one's playing and no one's consuming and all these things, it will more likely die very quickly. So I am really hoping to get a live stream operation going where we shred packs of Metazoo. I want to help people consume. I want to help break down the product, because that stuff needs to happen for a game to be happy and healthy.
What's
TCG to exist.
What's MSRP? Do you know?
120.
So 120. I would say if there's overprinting, you can see sub distribution pricing. If there's not overprinting, I could see $800 booster boxes.
No, you think?
I could see it.
They're 24-pack boxes. They're not 36-pack boxes.
Okay, 800.
I mean, so when we did this,
if they overprint it, they will kill it. If they don't overprint it, the first set will carry all other sets into perpetuity.
But whatever happens, it will have been obvious. It's so easy to say things today, not knowing how many people. Like,
if they don't overprint Metazoo, it will stonk. But
nobody knows that number. Nobody knows those numbers. It's impossible to know those numbers. If everyone speculates, if 95% of people speculate, it will die quickly. But like there needs to be people actually consuming. If the boxes go to 800, that is not healthy. I hope I'm going to have a lot of boxes. Hopefully that'll get allocated, but I don't know. If the boxes go to 800, that is not good, and they should reprint. People who buy it 400, 500, 700, 800 will not be happy if they reprint and it's 800. But at 800, people won't be able to play. People won't be able to collect. That would be way too much, way too fast. And
there's not a shot.
I mean,
I would you have said I would have said not a shot with blue bottom boxes for One Piece. Look what One Piece did.
This was 1,000. But this is 36 packs. The new one is going to be 24. But like this was $1,000. That was not healthy. That was not healthy at all.
That's a Kickstarter box. That's different.
No. This is the first edition. The first edition was 1,000.
If that was
this was 11,000. This was 11,000. 12,000.
1,000. I'm just saying, like, if you could have that box be 1,000 and the other one be 8,000.
If you ran Metazoo,
it's possible.
If you ran Metazoo and it went to 800 in October, you wouldn't reprint base set.
No, I just move on to the next one. Give everybody something to talk about.
That would not be healthy.
I would. I would move right on to the next thing, and everything that was playable, I would just reprint all the playable cards, but in a different format.
I mean, no disrespect, but I think you would not run a trading card game very well. I think I would not. I would not run a trading card game very well.
That one.
I think it's so much more complex than people give it credit for. In hindsight, it's so easy to say Metazoo 1 failed and this, that, and the other thing. But they had people screaming at them like artificial, print more, print more.
That's what.
And then up into
printing is artificial.
up until like, whoa, way too much. Pump the brakes, guys. Like,
no. That the
consumer
difference
demand is very fickle.
Yeah, but that was greed right there. You just held up a box of greed.
People were crying for it. So
I don't think they were.
This is how fickle it is. Yes,
I think
this was 50,000
people,
of these were printed.
everybody that looked at Metazoo was looking at investments.
So what was the right number to print then? So this was printed 50,000 and it was $300. People said 50,000, artificial scarcity, print more. They doubled it. Doubling's not massive. Doubling is like
100,000 booster boxes is a lot of.
How many should they have printed? They printed 50,000 of this and it was 300, and they printed 100,000 of this and it was too much.
Yeah, just keep them.
That's a pretty fine line.
Keep them as $300 booster boxes at release. Just keep going. Keep doing that. Just keep.
It's a lot more. It's a lot more complex than we're distilling it down to.
Could you imagine if we had a Pokemon box at $300 at release?
Sparks.
Well, I mean, how much? It was how much is 36 packs of Prismatic? If you have to say,
Prismatic doesn't count because it's a specialty set. So, if Journey Together comes out at $300 a box, we would have riots in the street.
Metazoo had stuff going on. I don't think we'll find a similar card of Charlie in the base set. I hope. Yeah. I love Charlie. Charlie, I love you, but please don't have this set. Don't have this pack.
Poketino said, you had a hate Kickstarter open and stream. You hated Metazoo. What made just the ownership? I'm giving a lot of faith in the ownership, but I'm just saying what I think. So I'm just giving Charlie the benefit of the doubt. I'm giving Squeaks, all those guys, the benefit of the doubt.
It's a very easy thing to say, like print the proper amount for every set.
No, I didn't.
What that is,
you keep hearing print the proper amount. I want to be very clear. Underprint it. That is not the proper amount.
But if you do it too much, if you underprint too much, like if there's $800 boxes, I don't think there will be. If there's $800 boxes this year, people will be, oh, it's a scam 2.0, this, that, the other thing. They'll say, oh, they're gonna rug pull us again. They're gonna people will be shouting that from the rooftops. It's artificial scarcity. Everyone's just backdooring it to their buddies. Like people will. It will be very negative if it's that expensive.
There's no such thing as.
Take it to the opposite. What would be better? Would it be better to have an $800 box or a $20 box?
800 for the longevity of a game. $20 kills the game.
I don't know. I think 800 kills the game because you want players to play it.
No, it's.
And $800 a box, you're not going to have players.
Is not a TC. It's not a TCG. It's a collectible card game that mass as a TCG. Where now Pokemon is a TCG that people mass it as an investable asset. It's opposite.
Have you seen these Metazoo cards? They look absolutely terrible. Nobody is collecting this stuff.
The new ones are the old ones.
Investable asset. That's how Metazoo is, and it's not a playable TCG. I don't. The only fact that me and you and Dan even know, people that play, means we're really deep down the rabbit hole. Shop Old Basic Trainer.
But the new game, the new launch of it is a new game entirely. Yeah. It's not the same artwork. It's not the same. It's a new game. I'm along for the ride.
Are the old cards still playable in the new meta or?
No, it'll be an entirely functionally different game. The old cards were printed in China, different card stock. You couldn't have a deck where you had Chinese printed ones and English printed one or US printed ones because it would be too obvious that you'd be able to mark your deck by having oh, hey, this is, you'd have an idea for what the cards were, right?
Even without they were that good deck sleeves, I don't see how that would be possible.
It wouldn't. Yeah, it wouldn't. From the ends of it, if you put Metazoo cards in a deck sleeve, say you had 4 of these in deck sleeves amongst 60 cards, they would stand out like a sore thumb.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, but it's all going to be interesting to follow it along. I say be cautious in Pokemon. Be extra cautious in Metazoo. It has risk of when I said this, when I gave these wide variances,
being overprinted.
the bear case for Metazoo by the end of the year is functionally 0, and the bull case is probably some stupid number. I wouldn't go quite as high as PK did, but the bear and the bull are even wider on a smaller market on a newer game. So just definitely be cautious. But yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap. I don't think we had any other questions come in. At some point tonight, unless Metazoo is late on it, which I would be very scared if they are late on anything. The release in 3 weeks, the news announcement today, that should be coming. So yeah, what do you guys have to say in closing? I know earlier you guys pumped your live streams you got going on tonight. PK and I already pumped our Fossil Box Break in a couple weeks. What else is going on this weekend?
No, just streaming. I got a card show on Saturday, so that'll be good. And then hopefully get my tax stuff figured out for on Sunday for last year. I still have not done any of that.
Slacking.
I know.
I got to do my sales tax, but all my income tax is done.
Yeah. For me, just once again, I'll be live tonight on Fanatics, but if you guys are going to join Fanatics, if you're new, there's a promo code in the description of all my YouTube videos, probably all Dan's YouTube videos. You get $25 in free Fanatics Live credit if you use the code KetchumAllCollectibles for your first purchase. That's another $20. If you have a PSA membership, you get $60 in Fanatics Live credit with the $150 a year tier, $125 in credit if you have the $199 tier. But most importantly, come join us, me and Dan, March 22nd. Dan will be sitting right next to me. We will be live on my YouTube channel beforehand. We'll be doing that Fossil First Booster Box Break, but more importantly, there will be a lot of high-end slabs and high-end singles. And if you guys are looking for good deals, all auctions on our channel always start at $1. They never start higher, so you might have an opportunity to get some pretty good items. And even if you want to just come hang out, chat's always exciting. But yeah, most importantly, Dan will be on my channel beforehand. So if you guys like us, if you like this type of content, it's definitely worth it for you to tune in.
And Nick, what price do you start your auctions at on eBay Live? Give us it.
$1.
And with that, we're gonna bring it to a close. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Go check out PK and Nick tonight on various live streams.
Thanks
We
for
will
hanging
catch
out.
you all later.